Introduce. Introduce. Introduce.
Girder. Introduce. Dirter. Dirter. I'm Bill Johnson. Around here, they just call me Dad. I've been trying to read, but I just can't seem to do it. Thanksgiving Day. We Johnsons had a good Thanksgiving, the best we've ever had. And I can't help thinking that what made it better was a real feeling of thankfulness. And that's odd, too, when you consider the shape things were in when I got home from work yesterday. My kids, Dick and Tommy and Susan, were all home from school. And of course, Mother and the baby were there. His kids will. Mine were living tomorrow right along with today, looking forward to Thanksgiving. And like most men, I'm glad it was Mother instead of me who had to break the news to them.
Tomorrow's Thanksgiving.
Turkey and dressing and pie and cake.
And fruit salad and whipped cream and cranberries. Gee, I can hardly wait. Me too.
Well, you know, children, we've had a lot of expenses this month, and, well, your father and I thought that, well, the truth of the matter is, there just won't be any turkey this year.
No turkey for Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm going to make a pumpkin pie. We'll have plenty to eat, but, well, we'll just have to get along without turkey.
Mom, you don't mean it. It won't be Thanksgiving at all.
Even the Pilgrims had a feast. After all, isn't that what Thanksgiving's for? I don't think it's fair.
And it was right there that I came in, right in the thick of it. Hello, everybody.
Hi,
Hello, Mother, Dick, Susan. Well, what's been going on around here? What's the matter with everybody, anyway?
Mom says we're not going to have any Thanksgiving. No turkey, no good thing.
A fat lot we're gonna have to be thankful for.
Oh, I don't think you kids really mean that.
We do too. We've always had turkey for Thanksgiving.
Yes, and everybody else in the block's gonna have it this year, as always.
Yes, we've always had turkey, just as a lot of Americans have had it, and we'll keep on having it. Turkey on Thanksgiving's a great American tradition. But what you kids are saying makes it sound as if the turkey's the only thing we had to be thankful for.
Well, gee whiz, no, Dad. It's not that at all.
Oh, I know, Dick. With turkey, it's easy to lose sight of what Thanksgiving really means.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Thanksgiving really means.
Dinosaurs.
We now recognize that birds are dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs. Birds are dinosaurs.
Jack Horner told us that birds are dinosaurs. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to Paleontologizing. A very happy early Thanksgiving to everyone, and,
Are just a few of the questions surrounding these fantastic animals.
Thank you for the 38 months of support. I do really appreciate it. Thank you, Fedorasaur. Good stuff. And welcome, everybody. Thanksgiving Day, which is kind of a peculiar American holiday for those of you who are not from the States, it's coming up this Thursday. And so in honor of that, we're talking about the connection between birds and dinosaurs. Grumpy Gary T, thank you so much for the Prime. I really appreciate that. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Turkeys, like all birds, are living dinosaurs. So that's what we're talking about today and tomorrow and Wednesday, leading up to Thanksgiving. This is the one day of the year when many Americans, one might say most Americans, talk about the anatomy and myology and sometimes osteology, of a theropod dinosaur without even realizing. So it's a wonderful opportunity to talk about this kind of thing. And as a dinosaur paleontologist, that's the sort of thing that gets me excited. If you're here for the very first time, allow me to introduce myself real quick. My name is Danny Anduza. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist, and I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So I'm talking about fossils, talking about the history of life on Earth, talking about dinosaurs in particular, and science in general, more broadly. As a dinosaur paleontologist, dinosaurs are what I study, what I publish on in the scientific literature, what I present on at scientific conferences, and what I dig up during the summers. This past summer we had a real blast digging in Wyoming and then Utah, and streaming it live. We had like 60 days of live streams out there in the field. It was pretty excellent. So I'm looking forward to doing even more of that this next year, and some other cool stuff I've got planned too. But anyway, for today, we're talking birds, we're talking dinosaurs, we're talking turkeys, which are both. So I'm glad you're here. Great to see you too, Mystic Blue. And Iacane says, didn't think I'd regret not having turkey on Thanksgiving, but after the realization we could be having dinosaurs for dinner now, I'm having second thoughts. I'm not trying to encourage the consumption of bird carcasses necessarily, because personally, I don't eat turkey. I'm not really a meat guy. I don't eat meat in general, but, you know, when in Rome, teach the Romans about how birds are dinosaurs, you know?
The world looks like a half-plucked turkey and walks like a pot-bellied bear.
But Dr. Irrefutable does. Thank you for the 19 months of support there.
2 years is getting closer.
I appreciate that, Dr. Irrefutable. How are you? Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Tier 2 subscription, 19 months. Pretty impressive. Appreciate you. Thanks for keeping me here on the air for that long. So yeah, and Goo, how are you? I'm feeling pretty gooey myself, Dr. Irrefutable. It's good to have you here. And Nerduino, how are you doing? Hello, Nerduino. What's shaking? It's good to see you.
Time of the dinosaur, this was a subtropical delta.
And the only.
Home of the big plant eaters. And of the monsters who chased them.
Monsters like Ren the Only. Thank you for the 6 months of support.
Paleo dance.
I really appreciate that, Ren. Thank you. Thank you. And Michael F01.
We alone are the only species to comprehend and appreciate the great dinosaurs.
51 months of support from Executive Storm there.
That means then that dinosaurs really did not become extinct.
There we go.
That we have their descendants around with us today, and I think that's fantastic.
Yep, they're called birds. Executive Storm, good to have your Iacane.
Settling for knowing what
31 months.
Like, we now need to know how they lived.
Happy early Dino dinner party, folks.
I appreciate that, Iacane. Thank you for the 31 months of support. Exquisite. And the Raven, thank you for the 100 bits there. Beautiful. Phenomenal.
It belongs in a museum.
It does indeed, the Raven. Thank you for the 100 bits there. I appreciate that very much. Good stuff. And it was your birthday Saturday. It was my mom's birthday too, the Spy. Happy birthday to you and to my mom. Excellent. Yeah. The Spy, appreciate you. It's good to have you here. You can finally afford resubbing? Yeah, congrats, Iacane, on the new job and everything. Exciting stuff. Appreciate you, Iacane. Thank you for the support. And Salamander. Well. 21 months. 21 months at tier 3 now, Salamander. Thank you for being such a stalwart supporter and such a pillar of this community. I appreciate you, Salamander. You know I do, but I still like to say it. Happy birthday to your mom as well. Thanks, the Spy. I set her up with a new Twitch account so she could subscribe with Prime. So we'll see if she shows up today. She should start getting notifications there. Anyway. And Shumway says, nice Archaeopteryx. Thank you. You saw it in the Field Museum last week? That is so exciting, Shumway. Holy cow. I'm a little jealous.
I can see that my
Reese, 8 months. Oh, I really appreciate that, Reese.
Had a good day.
Holy cow, Reese. Thank you for the 8 months of support. Tier 3. Thank you so much, Reese, for supporting Science outreach here on Twitch. I appreciate you. Holy cow. And we have we've got a level 3 hype train going, cruising up to a level 4. We'll see if we can get there. That is excellent. We are 1/50th of the way to our subpoints goal for the week. It is going to be a short week this week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. There we go. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. No stream for Thanksgiving Day. Here, let me set this up so I can edit it real quick. And then there is a chance I'll be streaming on Friday, but we'll see. Lordy is going to be doing, hosting Thanksgiving, and I've got to help her get that together. There is a chance we'll stream on Friday. We could have a surprise secret stream to make up for that, but no promises. I might have some other stuff going on then. Might have some science things going on. So yeah, count on 3 streams this week. Today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. It should be a lot of fun. I'm so glad everybody's here. And I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, if you need some documentaries or something like that to watch on Thanksgiving to help bide the time, help you get through the day, we'll have some cool stuff today. Some resources that I'll be sharing. Stick around. Oh yeah. Yeah. Too busy being thankful that birds are dinosaurs on Thursday. There you go, Charlie's Dragon. Exactly. Yeah. So, anyway, it's so good to have everybody here. G. Shumley was just saying they got to go to Chicago to see the Archaeopteryx there last week. For those of you who are not sure what that means, holy cow, take a look at this right here. Oh, hello, Mini Pie. How are you doing? It's good to see you. We're having a feline audit right now. This is my landlord, Mini Pie. She's one of 3 landlords here. There's 2 more cats. But it's good to see you, Minnie. How are you doing? It's been a while, huh? I think Minnie was a little bit miffed that I was gone for part of the weekend. I drove up to see my mom near Sacramento over the weekend for her birthday on Saturday, and just got back yesterday, and Minnie Pie's like, where'd everybody go? Where'd everybody go? It's good to have you here. It's good to have you here, Minnie. And let's see, 134 Zing 4 says, knew a guy down in Corona, California. He dug up a huge spine bone in his yard. Yeah, that was almost certainly a whale. That is kind of a common yard decoration in coastal California. I know people who've used whale vertebrae as doorstops and stuff like that too. I know 2 different people in San Francisco who have got whale bones in like the front entrance to their house. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. Whale vertebrae typically look like this. I've got these long neural spines. Oh, Mini Pie. Gotta get the keyboard. There we go. It looked like this. Very solid in terms of that centrum right there. Kind of flat on either side. They're not really like amphicoelous or procoelous. But yeah. Although they do vary. You move up and down the vertebral series and they change shape and stuff, obviously. And they can be big. They can be very big. Yeah. Not nearly as big as like sauropod vertebrae. Truly the largest animals that have ever lived. I don't care if people say whales are heavier. Whales are weightless. They live in the water. Anyway, some of these are truly enormous. Let's look up Alamosaurus. Alamosaurus vertebra. So here's one next to Matt Wadle. And Matt's a big guy. He's not a small man. And that is a single vertebra from an Alamosaurus. This great big sauropod dinosaur that lived at the end of the Cretaceous period in North America. Some of these guys are truly enormous. Like the biggest animals to ever walk our planet. Alamosaurus and some of its titanosaur friends are right there. Probably the biggest animals ever to walk the earth. So yeah. And gigantic, yeah, Dr. Irrefutable. Oh my goodness. They are gargantuan. Yeah, it's impressive. It really is. There's Matt Wadle again with another sauropod vertebra. This is a cast of one, which means it's lightweight enough that he can pick it up without it completely crumbling. Another one there. Oh, and there's Nate Carroll and Liz Friedman Fowler next to... This is a replica that Nate made of an Alamosaurus vertebra. Man, this is ages ago. This would have been like 2012, something like that. At Museum of the Rockies, back when they used to have that sauropod on display. Now this is burrowing dinosaurs in that corner of the hall. But yeah. So this is a model that Nate built just to kind of show off the size. This is one of the neck vertebrae. One of the cervical vertebrae. And,
the infant?
Lunosaurus.
The adult.
That's some growth right there. That's some... Ontogeny. There we go. Thank you for the 23 months of support, Lunosaurus. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, compare this to a human cervical vertebra. Vertebra size. Yeah, not very big, you know? That's a neck bone from a person, a cervical vertebra. There's one from an Alamosaurus. It's pretty impressive, I think.
Instead of settling for knowing what dinosaurs looked like, we now need to know how they lived.
And Jody Fish, thank you for the 31 months of support.
Maybe a year sometime soon.
There you go. I think so. 31 months, you're getting pretty close, Jody Fish. Thank you for helping me live, like the alert said, with that support. That's excellent. Help me pay the bills here. Yeah. Deal Wing says, so you're saying giants are real? I mean, giant dinosaurs, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. And Pomas says, I'm sure you get this frequently, but I've been eager to know what books you would recommend for expanding knowledge on different dinosaur species. Ooh, Pomas, that's a great question. There's a few books I can recommend. There's some that I recommend in lots of different contexts, and one of them is Thomas Holtz's Dinosaur Encyclopedia. It's a classic at this point. It's almost 20 years old, and yet it's still one of the best resources for, well, like the book says, for dinosaur lovers of all ages. Here. That's right here. Tom Holtz's Dinosaur Encyclopedia. Dinosaurs, the most complete, up-to-date encyclopedia for dinosaur lovers of all ages. See, it says it right there on the cover. It's good stuff. Highly recommended. Beautiful illustrations by Louis Ray. Yeah, so... And it is, age-appropriate from clever little kids up to adults. It's good stuff, and it does talk a lot about the dinosaur bird link. It was even a little bit ahead of its time in certain regards. Yeah, so this is a really good one. And then another good one that I could recommend is Greg Paul's Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs. There's some kind of creative choices made here about some of the taxonomy. But, oh yeah, there we go. There's a brachiosaur and a sperm whale right there, side by side. Showing you a size comparison. But anyway, this is fairly comprehensive, just talking about a bunch of different dinosaurs, and he does synonymize a lot of them, which in some cases I agree with, in some cases I don't. But if you want, like, vital stats on a whole bunch of different dinosaurs, this is probably one of the best books that you can get. The Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs. by Gregory S. Paul, one of the greatest living paleo artists. So yeah, good stuff. Again, that is the Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs. Anywho, I think it's about time we get Mini Pie some treats here. What do you think, Minnie? Shall we engage our cat cam? There we go. Let me put these books back and we'll get you some treats, Minnie. And Citism says strange birds. We're going to be talking about some strange-looking birds today. And why they looked so strange, because they're kind of halfway between their dinosaur ancestors and their birdie descendants. Things like Archaeopteryx with that long bony tail, teeth in its jaws, claws on its wings, all that good stuff. Anyway, let me put these books away, Minnie, and we'll get you some treats. How's that sound? Alright, that's one too. Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. We're gonna run out pretty soon. We need to get some more treats off the wish list, don't we? Yeah. There you go. How's that for you? Ooh. Good stuff, Mini Pie. Good stuff. Anywho, yeah. Anywho, it's so good to have everybody here. We'll let Mini Pie finish this up, and then we'll see if she'll leave us be. Let us get to our topic for today. Terminator Pig says, I'm very curious about the birds that survived the extinction. What we know about them? They were a small percentage of all the birds that lived before that. I can tell you that. So, that's it? You're just gonna leave? Alright, I'll see you later, Mini Pie. She's into those treats, and that's what she's into. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Birds didn't do so hot at the end of the Cretaceous when that asteroid hit. This is a figure from a still as yet unpublished paper, but the data on this are sound, as far as I understand it. 100% of the non-bird dinosaurs died out. About 20% of salamanders and newts and their kin died out. About 20% of crocs and champsosaurs, who are probably not related to each other. 40% of freshwater fishes, 22% of turtles, 92% of lizards and snakes.
32 feet long and
Ardeli, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing.
And not a single cat.
Yeah. 90% of mammal species died out at the end of the Cretaceous when that asteroid hit. 94% of bird species died out. It was a bad time to be a bird, too. People say that, oh, birds survived while their non-bird dinosaur cousins died out. But that's not the full story. Most of the birds died out at that time, too. It was only a handful of species that survived. And, here, I can show you a clip from this video right here. About that extinction event. Here we go. From PBS Eons. They always do good work.
Birds. These are the neornithines. Their fossils are still very rare, but in the past couple of decades, paleontologists have found bones of the very earliest members of this group. One of the best known is a...
Oh, goodness, and what happened here? YouTube does this sometimes, where they just, like, change the settings around for no reason. So, give me a second, let me fix these subtitles. Options... Font opacity. Yeah, so they changed the font opacity for, like, no reason there. I didn't do that. It just So that was
68 million-year-old duck relative from Antarctica called Vagavus. And its remains show us that even by the late Cretaceous, it was already well adapted to swimming and diving. So today, we finally have enough fossils of different kinds of birds to know that about 66 million years ago, there were both toothed birds and toothless birds from many different groups. And generally, they were all doing just fine. Until the Cretaceous period ended in extinction. There were many causes behind the extinction event that killed off the non-avian dinosaurs. But when it came to birds, and most everything else, the worst was probably the asteroid impact in the Gulf of Mexico. The impact set off huge fires that destroyed entire forests and vaulted dust into the atmosphere.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
And Hugin.
I saw my post, but there's a mod for Path of Titans that adds Bradisme as a playable dinosaur.
Okay.
I think it's cool that an Alvarezsaurid got some love.
That's pretty neat, Hugin. That is pretty neat. Thank you for the 100 bits and for letting us know. I've never played Path of Titans before, but I hope people are excited about it. That's cool.
The sunlight for years impact in the Gulf of Mexico. The impact set off huge fires that destroyed entire forests and vaulted dust into the atmosphere, probably blocking much of the sunlight for years. For birds, their odds of survival might have come down to a number of factors.
So there are certain bird groups that survive. Well, the neornithine birds survived. They're the ones that evolved into all the birds we have today, but most of the birds died out. And we're starting to kind of figure out why. Like, what is the pattern for who lived and who died? Why did some birds live? Why did some get wiped out?
Including how big they were, where they lived, and what they ate. For example, if you lived in trees like most opposite birds did, you were in the worst possible place in the aftermath of the impact. Not only was your habitat suddenly gone, but
all those
if you ate
forests got
plants,
wiped
it would
out.
be weeks
Global
or months before
wildfires.
any new growth would be available. And if you ate meat, there was almost nothing around to hunt. But if you were smaller and lived on the forest floor, there's a chance you could have found shelter. And it might have been a lot easier for you to find food, like seeds on the ground.
So some of these guys may have also been burrowers, which may have given them a better shot at survival too. You know, if they're not roosting in trees at night, if that's not their habitat, if they're living in a burrow in the ground most of the time, that's a fairly safe place to be. And it's not something that got completely destroyed like all of those forests during those global wildfires. That makes sense?
Likewise, if you were aquatic, your habitat and your food supply might have been less disturbed by the fires. So out of what may have been thousands of species of dinosaurs living at the end of the Cretaceous, only 3 groups of neornithines had that perfect survivor's combination of being small, ground-dwelling or aquatic, and seed-eating. One of these lineages was the Paleognathes, which today include radites like ostriches and emus, as well as adorable South American birds called tinamou.
And you will see a Tinamou bird if anyone decides to generously gift 10 gift subs.
Wow, it's not the dinosaur we knew. Just look at that thing. It's not
RDA,
friendly to us.
thank you for the 5 months of support. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Good stuff. Anyway.
The Gallo-Ansarans also survived, like Vagavus and its kin, possibly thanks to their aquatic lifestyle. Today they include chickens, ducks, and other kinds of fowl. And the third lineage is the Neo-Avians, which includes essentially every other living bird.
And Salamander, holy cow, is showing us a lovely Tinamou bird here. Look at this. Look how gorgeous this bird is. That's a male, and he seems pretty excited. He's going to start calling. Look at that. This wonderful Paleognathe bird, and uh-oh, getting a little too excited. Oh, shoot.
Sloppy Salamander is overloading the system with 10 gift subs.
Well, despite what you saw right there... thank you, Salamander, for the 10 gift subs. Thank you for your generosity. Despite what you saw right there, that group of birds did survive the extinction event. The ancestors of the Paleognathes. So the ancestor of tinamous, ostriches, rheas, etc. I can show you on here. Let's jump to birds, the aves, on our tree of life. And you'll see Paleognathes are like the first group that splits off. They're considered the basal-most birds today. The most... to use a kind of a weaselly word, the most primitive of modern birds are the Paleognathes, ratites and tinamous. Paleognathae is the name of that group. The ostrich, and then you've got this group that includes the rheas. Then you've got cassowaries and emus and kiwis and etc. And then we got tinamous. There's 47 species of them, or thereabouts, nowadays. It's a good number. It's a fairly diverse group. A lot of people don't hear about tinamous. They don't get a lot of attention, but they're important, and they're cool. Anyway. And Murph said, had a weird thought listening to NPR today. Are turkeys the only dinosaur to ever get a pardon? I don't know. Maybe. I know of a local turkey who was granted a pardon. But he's also a turkey. Yeah, I'm not sure. Not sure, Murph. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Rhea Perlman. There you go, Iacane. Oh, and sorry, Beth Galaxy Fox. There's a lot going on, and I... Yeah. Yeah, these are good. This is a bird law question, says DM Wing. Right, and I'm not an expert in bird law. It's true. Yeah. Oh, these are excellent, Beth Galaxy Fox. Holy moly. I love that Triceratops. We're not totally sure that ceratopsians actually had these bristles, though. I know that's kind of popular to restore them that way nowadays. But, I don't know. I've talked to people like Jim Kirkland about this, and I've talked to researchers from China, and they think that Psittacosaurus with the quills, those are probably not quills. It might be like a plant matter or something like that, so we'll see. But this is gorgeous, though. Really well done, and I love how you reconstruct the hands properly. And the hind feet, too. But the hands, almost everybody gets those wrong. This is a zillion times better than what you'll see in the Jurassic World movies, so congrats. Lovely Tyrannosaurus there. I like it a lot. Very, very nice. I particularly like the cranial ornamentation there. Beautiful. Archaeopteryx. Very, very nice. I love the kind of whiskery feathers. Those often get overlooked, even when people do reconstructions of modern birds. Those are lovely. Is it Deinonychus? Oh, Dromaeosaurus. Nice. Nice. Dromaeosaurus itself is kind of a mysterious dinosaur. We don't have good fossils of it, really. And so, eventually, when somebody finds a more complete skeleton, there's probably going to be some surprises there. But anyway, this is really nice. I especially like the feathering on the arms. Again, people rarely get that right, and you took the time to get it right. This is really good. And lovely Carnotaurus. Beautiful. That's a cool pose for it, too. Cool perspective. And who are these? Ah, Ornithomimosaurs, Gallimimus. Very nice. This is good stuff. Keep up the good work, Beth Galaxy Fox. This is excellent. Yeah. I'm impressed. Excellent. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah. Anywho, I don't want to get too bogged down in the art. We got to get back to our bird discussion and everything. But yeah. Yeah. And Murph says, didn't Jim say that there were some more found with the butt fuzz? He wasn't sure. Yeah, he heard rumors that there might have been more.
Possibly thanks to their aquatic lifestyle.
Yeah.
Today they include chickens, ducks, and other kinds of fowl. And the third lineage is the Neo-avians, which includes essentially every other living bird.
So there's only basically 3 lineages of birds that survived the end Cretaceous extinction event. The Paleonaths, the Galliforms, I think, or Proto-Galliforms or whatever. Like chickens and ducks and their relatives, and then the Neo-avians.
And the third lineage is the Neo-avians, which includes essentially every other living bird.
So all of the enantiornithine birds died out, all of the Hesperornithiform birds. It was just a massacre, you know? Most birds died out when that asteroid hit, but 3 lineages survived. And they gave rise to the many, many bird species that we have today. There are approximately over 9,000! Over 9,000 living species of birds. Most estimates put it at over 10,000. But, yeah.
Free of competition from the tree-dwelling opposite birds, a lot of Neo-avians quickly took to life in the trees at the dawn of the Cenozoic.
So these guys, the enantiornithines, which were dominant in forests and stuff, they were the preeminent tree-dwelling birds, when they got wiped out during that extinction event, some of the neoavians evolved in that direction, and they became tree-dwelling birds. And they just went nuts, exploded in diversity. That's like the majority of species today are tree-dwelling birds. Things like passerine birds.
These birds all have diverse diets and habitats today, but by analyzing the earliest known members of each group, scientists have found that the last common ancestor of all living birds was indeed a ground-dwelling seed eater. Each of these three lineages might have only had a handful of species at the time of the extinction, but they are the ancestors of roughly 10,000 species.
How many?
Over 9,000!
Yeah.
Species of birds that are alive today. There are many things we have yet to learn about the story of birds, but our understanding has grown tremendously since that lovely fossil of a feather was first discovered in Germany more than 150 years ago. And just within my own lifetime, a wealth of bird fossils have been discovered that are only beginning to reveal the wonderfully weird and diverse world of the Mesozoic, when birds had teeth.
Yeah, we are living in the golden age of bird paleontology right now. Over the past, 20 years, there have been so many different kinds of fossil birds discovered. The number of fossil bird taxa, genera, and species that have been named, it's probably quadrupled or quintupled within the past 20 years. Before, it was just a handful of bird species that were known from the Mesozoic, from the age of dinosaurs. Now there's probably close to 100, I imagine. Something like that. There's a lot. There's a lot. And a lot of those have come out of China. Yeah. It's, and toothed birds, yes indeed, sir. Absolutely. Toothed birds, we've known about toothed birds since the days of Cope and Marsh. Othniel Charles Marsh described Ichthyornis here, which is a toothed kind of seabird. Good old Ichthyornis. Think of it like a gull, but with teeth. Here's some harassing a pteranodon trying to steal a fish from it. Is that a coelacanth? They're trying to steal a coelacanth from that pteranodon. That's lovely. Oh man, I like that a lot. Okay, let's embiggen this so everyone can see. Good stuff. Yeah. So imagine a bird swooping down to steal your pretzel. If you're at the beach or on a pier or something, and then imagine seeing a flash of teeth because it's a toothed bird. These guys were super common during the late Cretaceous of North America. These toothed birds, Ichthyornis, and then they got wiped out. There were multiple lineages of birds. They all came from the same proto-bird originally, which was a dinosaur. But they split off in all these different lineages, and many of them they all ancestrally had teeth, but many groups lose their teeth. Multiple different groups lose their teeth independently, and other groups retain their teeth. But then at the end of the Cretaceous, all of the toothed ones die out. Only the toothless birds survive. And so later on, during the age of mammals, you had these giant seabirds that evolved, and they kind of really wanted to have teeth. I'm anthropomorphizing them. They're evolved. Since they couldn't re-evolve to have proper teeth, they evolved what we call pseudo-teeth. So rather than these being actual teeth that are in sockets in the jawbone, these are just projections of the beak. They're like sharp points on the beak. This one might be the one at the museum in Minnesota that I was at a few weeks ago for SVP. But pretty scary looking jaws. But they're not real teeth, they're pseudo teeth. Right here. They're just sharp projections coming out of the beak, not being teeth. So that they don't have roots, they don't have sockets, they can't be replaced over time. It's kind of a disadvantage in that sense, where if they start to get dull, well then you're out of luck. Your bones are getting dull there, Those serrated beaks, yes indeed, Terminator Pig. Cool stuff. Critters like Pelagornis are really, really neat. They are super, super cool. They're also some of the largest flying birds that have ever evolved. Like, some of them grow enormous. Yeah. They could have, like, 20-foot wingspans. Here, I'm trying to find you... There we go. There's Pelagornis sandersi right there. There's a great albatross, which is the bird with the largest wingspan today. There's a bald eagle, turkey vulture, common gull, sparrow, Pelagornis. 24-foot wingspan. That's like... It's like almost 8 meters. That's nuts, right? And Beth Galaxy Fox says, I love that they look like albatrosses. Well, they probably had a very similar lifestyle. We know that they lived at sea. We know that they're eating fishes and other sea creatures like that. And like an albatross, they probably soared for great distances without flapping their wings. The like wing aspect of a great albatross like this really reminds me of a famous plane. The U-2 spy plane, which has got these long, thin wings like this. It's not meant to go super, super fast. It was designed to fly super, super high and super, super far. Which is why it's got those long, skinny wings like that. Here's one flying over Golden Gate Bridge. Oh boy, this is, wow, my neck of the woods here. Anywho. Anywho, same kind of deal. Pelagornis, really cool critter. Really cool critter. Yeah. And Ms. Yvette says U2, like the band is named after the plane. The plane came first. Yeah. Cowardly Viking says, was there ever a bird or flying dinosaur? That's the same thing, Cowardly Viking. Flying dinosaurs are birds. You might be thinking of pterosaurs, which, the big flying reptiles like this are not dinosaurs. These guys are not dinosaurs. They're another group of Mesozoic reptiles that lived at the same time as the dinosaurs, and they're related to dinosaurs pretty closely, but they're not dinosaurs themselves. They're just outside of the dinosaur family tree. Anyway, these guys, maybe the very biggest pterosaurs might be able to like Quetzalcoatlus here, may have been able to have a person ride on their back, but I kind of doubt it. Like, this animal would probably weigh less than 300 pounds, I would think. They were extraordinarily lightweight for how big they were. Their bones are super, super hollow. Their bodies are actually very small and slight. They're just full of air, you know? They were probably even lighter weight than, like, if you were to scale a bird up to that size, the bird would probably be heavier. Because feathers are not necessarily... Well, I don't know. I don't know if a skin membrane or a wing of equivalent size and volume which would weigh more. I think the skin membrane would, but I'm not totally sure. Anyway, yeah. In Dinotopia, they have this fantasy series by James Gurney. They've got Quetzalcoatlus with people that ride on their backs. But I don't know if that would actually be possible in real life, you know? Just given that these critters are super, super lightweight, like a person might just be too heavy for them, you know? You certainly wouldn't want, like, a saddle, I don't think, on there. That would just add extra weight. I don't know. But yeah. Anyway, those are not dinosaurs. Pterosaurs are not dinosaurs. Pelagornis, I wonder if we can find a video on that critter, that bird, who is a dinosaur. Here we go.
It was a two-story building. He could kill almost anything that crossed his path.
Feist, thank you for the 43 months. I certainly will, Feist.
And it's therefore likely that we're here today because, by the luck of the draw, dinosaurs who had been dominant over mammals in ordinary times got felled in a mass extinction.
Yep. Thank you, Granny Pantaloons, for the 11 months. Dinosaurs are still dominant over mammals in the air. Birds typically outcompete mammals in the air. But yeah. Good stuff. Ordinary times. Yeah, like the Mesozoic, Trek Nerd, you know. Yeah. Anywho. I appreciate you, Feist. Thank you so much for the 43 months of support. That's a long time, and I appreciate you for it. And Paleo Ken, how are you doing, Ken? It's good to see you. I hope you're having a good week. I hope all is well. It's good to have you here. Happy early Thanksgiving to you, Ken. And we're talking about, this is a bird that lived long after the dinosaurs. Pelagornis is from the age of mammals. And it's huge. It's one of the biggest Very cool. And they can also take off vertically. Although they can do it more times than a Harrier jump jet can, because they... Yeah, like, it's really cool that they can take off and land vertically, but it uses a tremendous amount of coolant to do that, and they run out. I think they've got like 6 seconds worth of coolant, something like that. So, it needs to be refilled. They can't just do that at will. They can't just hover there for any length of time. It's maximum like 10 seconds or something like that. Marines fly them? I don't know, Ken. Could they fly a Pelagornis? I don't think so, because they're extinct now, but... Can they carry? Probably a decent amount of squid and fish, but I don't know if they could carry any like high explosive ordnance or anti-personnel weaponry. Wait! That's the scap next to the humerus?
This bone, the scapula, is the equivalent to our own shoulder blade.
That's insane. I didn't. Cool. Here's a link to that video from Smithsonian Channel. Excellent stuff. Yeah. Dynamic prostration. There you go, Kenya. Anyway, Pelagornis, really cool critter. The fossil history of birds is incredibly fascinating, especially when we realize that birds evolved from dinosaurs. Do you have any videos of albatrosses landing on the ground? I don't have any of my own videos of that, Iacane, but we could certainly look some up. They're not the most graceful birds when it comes to landing. Yeah. Here. They don't spend much time on the ground. They spend most of their lives in the air, and most of that without flapping. So yeah, they're not the best at landing. Here we go. Yeah, just a bit of a dynamic inversion there. There you go, Ricodactylus, yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. And Sweetie Pie, how are you doing? It's good to see you here. This is one of the reasons why some people call them Goonie birds, because albatrosses are kind of clumsy on the ground, for sure. Here's another one. Look, Sweetie Pie, look. You love birds. and then many of them have to, like, kind of get a running...
And a bird as big as an albatross can't do it at all. It has to use yet another way of getting into the air.
They have to run to get enough airspeed to actually take off.
Along a runway.
Yeah. Here, I'll go back with the subtitles.
It taxis along a runway. It's a method we use too in our machines.
Yeah.
For the majority of birds, the most exhausting part of flight is now over. Those shearwaters achieved it by climbing trees.
Yeah. Anyway, good stuff. Albatrosses are really neat, and yeah. What do you think, Sweetie Pie? What's your favorite bird? Huh? Yeah. You want some treats too? She's like, I heard Sweetie Pie got some treats. I've come here to collect my treats as well. Is it collections time, Sweetie Pie? Yeah. All right, let's get you some treats. Let's fire up the cat cam here. Yeah. There we go. Excellent. You're almost out of these. And if anybody's feeling super generous, there are cat treats on the Amazon wish list that you can procure if you so wish. But Beth Galaxy Vox, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time. And Neverwinter Birds of the Mesozoic. I have not seen this, no. That is new to me. Very cool. Huh. With a forward by Luis Schiappe. That's a vote of confidence. Excellent. I don't have this one, but there's another book by Luis Schiappe that I would highly recommend to anybody who's interested in kind of the fossil history of birds. Right here. Glorified Dinosaurs is the title by Luis M. Schiappe. And it is excellent stuff. I'm actually going to be looking into this a little bit, kind of boning up on my fossil bird info before tomorrow's stream and Wednesday's stream. And EB Knight, thank you for the 6 months of support.
A versatile sort of chap. He won a lot of arguments in his time, but very few beauty contests.
Oh, unlike you, EB Knight, thank you for the 6 months of support. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for the compliment. 6 months is a long time. Thanks for keeping me here on the air. Yeah. Anywho, Sweetie Pie, you're just completely eclipsing the camera right now. Yeah. Organized like a bird field guide. That's neat, Neverwinter. That's really neat. Huh. Cool stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Total eclipse of the cat. There you go, Fedorasaur. Yeah. Princeton University field guides. Well. More than 200 kinds of Mesozoic birds. Yeah, there were probably fewer than 40 or 50 like 20 years ago. So that's pretty neat that we've got so many now. Neat stuff. Very neat stuff. Well. Let's get rid of some of these tabs and let's pull up a video here. Getting ready for Thanksgiving. Oh, and I almost forgot. We got to do a post on Blue Sky. Let's take a quick screenshot. Let's see, control, print screen. And open up Photoshop. what that looks like. I keep forgetting to do the live announcements on. Well, I don't keep forgetting. I almost forgot today, but I've been pretty good about that lately. So let's do that. Create new. Let's do 400 DPI. Paste. Yeah. That looks kind of goofy. Let's do a different one. All right. I gotta smile and see if that's any better. That's not that much better. Come on, Danny. All right, and paste. There's a turkey on my chin. All right, let's try another one. My hands look weird. I'm so picky about these. All right. What's going on there? All right. That's not too bad. We can go with that. Yeah. Let's crop that in. Right there. Enter. Let's get that saved. Uh-oh. Okay. Stop freaking out. It's okay, Photoshop. Paste. Or, save. There we go. And we'll just go ahead and open that up in Blue Sky and we'll get it posted. Dinosaur and origin of birds. As we get ready for Theropods Giving. Come say hello in the chat. Thank you, Bush Doctor. Holy cow, let me look at that in a second. Twitch.tv/Paleontologizing. Yeah. And alt text. It's in my office. With a 3D printed behind me. Save. And
hold on to your butts.
Let's post it. Yeah. There we go. And there it is, right there. Someone else who does alt text, of course, Brachydactylus. Not only good for people with visual impairments, but also it just provides good context and it makes it more searchable as well. It's good for SEO too, search engine optimization. Yeah. Can't post without alt text. I sometimes still do without alt text if I'm in a hurry or if I'm posting from mobile. But, yeah. And how do you feel about referencing Blue Sky as the butterfly website? I don't know, I'm not opposed to that, but I think it's not as clear as... It's still not as ubiquitous as Twitter was, and so people might be confused. They might not know what that means. But anyway, yeah. Thank you everybody who's already reposted and liked that. That's splendid. And we're, swiftly approaching 700 followers now. This is excellent. Yeah. I'm probably going to be deleting my Twitter profile pretty soon, just because I'm never on there. I just can't stomach that website anymore. It's really hot garbage nowadays. Well, anyway. And thank you, Dr. Hubbs. I appreciate that. Now let's look into Ko-Fi here. Just a small amount for the kitty. Thank you, Bush Doctor. I appreciate that support. And Joe Kennedy, too. Holy cow. Thank you for your support. Both of you. That's wonderful. Thank you very, very much. It's good stuff. It's very good stuff. Anywho. You should set it to private but keep the account. I don't know. I already downloaded all of my data, and I just don't want, like, my artwork and stuff being used to train AI. Because that's the thing with websites like Twitter and with Instagram now. Like, they're just stealing people's artwork and using it to train their own AI engines for their own profit. And I strongly disagree with that, you know? They kind of bury it in their terms of service. They don't let you opt out of it. It's really scummy, and I don't like that. Blue Sky doesn't do this. So, yeah. But yeah. Keep the username so someone doesn't impersonate you. If somebody really wants to impersonate me, they already can. You know? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Half the accounts on there are impersonators nowadays anyways, you know? It's just unusable. But yeah. Anywho. Let's get into what we were going to get into. And holy cow, another 18 notifications. Thank you. 15 people have liked the post so far. This is good stuff. Thank you, Terminator Pig. Very model of a modern paleontologist. Ms. Yvette. Very nice. Good stuff. And Gravity, love people who actually do those. Yeah, of course. I try and do alt text. Not always, but whenever it makes sense. If my text in the post is already describing what the image is, then I'm not going to be redundant and add alt text. Because sometimes I do that. Sometimes I describe what's in the image in the regular text. But if I'm not doing that, then yeah, of course I'll do alt text. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. And did you know that if you post your Twitch link, people can watch the stream live from Blue Sky? Really? I did post it right there. But, yeah, you know, we can do that. Let's see. I'm being told Blue Sky users. You can watch a Twitch stream direct from so tell me, is it working? Twitch.tv/ Paleontologizing. Well, well, well.
Hold on to your butts.
Let's post it. Uploading link thumbnail. Is it working? Stupid title I have today. The Dinosaur Turkey Connection. Oh, no, I should say it like a news anchor. The Dinosaur Turkey Connection and what you can do to protect your family. More tonight at 11. It's working for you? All right. Excellent. And we got some notifications already. It works. Thank you, Rankadactylus. Brilliant. Thanks for the tip. I appreciate that, Reiko. Hope you had a great weekend, by the way. It's good to see you. One of my viewers took a screenshot of watching me via Blue Sky on their phone, so I was extra time. Oh, nice, Reiko. Okay, cool. Yeah. Dinosaurs and turkeys, are they connected? Drama, says Petrodactylus, yeah. The little siren emojis. Yeah. And it's working, Suavorio. Thank you. Charlie's Dragon, beautiful. Excellent. Phenomenal. Oh, that's really good. Well. Let's get into the dinosaur bird link, as we do. Let's take a look at this really quick. Well, let's do something longer. Maybe we'll jump into a quick video if we get a raid and a bunch of new people come in. Let's take a look at this right here. I'm kind of shocked this doesn't have more views. Because it's good stuff. Theater mode right here. Here is a link. It's entitled How to Find the Dinosaur in Your Christmas Dinner. Thanksgiving dinner in our case.
Aha! Hello! It is me. I am Izzy Lawrence, and welcome to my office, the ideal place to carve your Christmas roast. Yes, I'm Izzy. I present a podcast with my friend Dr. Dave Hone called Terrible Lizards. It is a podcast about dinosaurs. What's that got to do with Christmas? What's that got to do with this lovely turkey in front of me? You're gonna find out. Now, before I begin, fans of Terrible Lizards will know that Dr. Dave Hone is a bit poorly. We had this originally planned out where I wasn't going to do any talking because I'm really
a bit. Does that mean he's not feeling well? I don't speak English. I speak American English. Yeah, okay. He's unwell.
Really good at that, not talking. And he was going to explain all the anatomy, all the dinosaur.
Ouch says, I've never seen a turkey with the legs still on? Oh boy. Ouch. Here, let me show you one. Yeah, here's one right here. And there's another one right there. Yeah.
All the science to you guys.
A cooked turkey. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Stuff and got grease all over my electronics. Now, not only am I going to have to cut this bird up on camera whilst flicking views, because we've got multiple views, I can tell you, look, we've got this.
Oh, this is cool.
One of them's gone off already, but we've got this view. Look at this. Look at the bird there. And we did have another view, but
poor
already that has gone away. But I'm going to find out what that is. What you see, this is slick. So
this is good stuff. We might even save this for tomorrow or Wednesday, as we get a little bit closer to Thanksgiving. And let me think about this for a minute. Well. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at a different document. Stop by, we'll get hungry, says Gravity. Okay. We're probably going to save that one for tomorrow or maybe Wednesday. Let's take a look at this right here. The Mystery of Feathered Dinosaurs. This features one of the most famous paleontologists in the world, especially if you're in China. Holy cow, Xu Xing is... Well, first, let me show you this. I've shown it before. It's real quick. Xu Xing, paleontologist, commercial, Toyota. Here's a dinosaur paleontologist who got a sponsorship deal from National Geographic and Toyota to make a commercial. I just want to give you a sense for like how well known he is in that part of the world. And this really makes me smile. Take a look.
China. In the remote district of Liaoning is the world's most concentrated find of feathered dinosaurs.
That's what the documentary is about, though.
National Geographic grantee Xu Xing and the leading paleontologists from the Chinese Academy of Sciences.
Sorry, the quality is so bad.
Are out to prove beyond doubt what most world scientists now believe.
Yep.
That all birds have a common ancestor. A dinosaur.
Yes, indeed.
Their search has already yielded 4 new species of feathered
Hey, California birds. Good to see ya.
125 million years old. Some of the most exciting discoveries in fossil records in decades. Relying on his Land Cruiser, a remarkable man drives a remarkable Toyota.
I love it. Holy cow. I've never like sought out sponsorship deals or anything like that before, but holy cow, Toyota. If you're watching right now, call me. There are very few products that I would actually...
Instead of settling for knowing what dinosaurs looked like,
California
we
Burbs.
now need to know how they lived.
Thank you for the 31 months of
Where would
support.
this channel even be without burbs?
We wouldn't have any living dinosaurs, that's for sure, California Burbs. Thank you so much for the 31 months of support. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Extraordinary. Thanks for keeping me here on the air. What was I saying? Oh yeah, there are very few products that I would have actually, like, chill for. I drive a Toyota. My... 3 of the different vehicles I've had in my life have been... 3 of the 4 that I've had have been Toyotas. 3 of the 5. Motorcycle doesn't count. Or I guess it does. I don't know. I don't know. I've long been a Toyota guy. So, it's a sponsorship I wouldn't turn my nose up at, potentially. Anywho. Yeah. And, no, the bike wasn't a Toyota Claire, no. And Gojira, launching you on Blue Skies. Well, Gojira, excellent. It's good to see you. And Echo L. Just mute one of them. Sorry. Yeah. What Toyotas did you have before the Prius? I had a 1990 Toyota Corolla that I got from my grandmother. Long story. Kind of a funny story. I won't tell it now. But that was my first car. And then I had a 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser before that. 2007 Toyota FJ Cruiser, black, bull bar. It looked... it was all kitted out. Holy cow. It looked... a lot like... well, shoot, mine was, like, more ridiculous than most of these. It looked a lot like this, except it had it had the black roof. It had a big bull bar on the front with a winch. Great car, but just, I didn't, oh, it looked a lot like this. Yeah, with the roof rack on top. But it had a big bull bar with a winch and larger off-road wheels and tires. Maybe a little bit more of a lift than this, too. Ridiculous vehicle in the sense that I didn't need anything that big. And it got like 10 miles to the gallon. Ridiculously inefficient in terms of its fuel consumption. It was a beast off-road, but just a little too big, and also a little bit too nice to take off-road. That's the thing about having like a big expensive off-road vehicle, is that you're often not inclined to take it off-road, because like, well, what if something happens to it, you know? Too shiny, says Claire. Mine was actually all scratched up, but yeah, great car, but just, I don't like a vehicle that big, you know? Yeah. And yeah, Dr. Irrefutable says FJ Cruisers are in high demand these days. I think it's one of only like 3 cars on the road where they're actually going up in value. So if you buy one, you might be able to sell it for more than you bought it for after a few years. These were only around for... I think they only made them for 7 or 8 years. And they have a cult following. So people really, really want these. So yeah. Yeah. Land Cruisers are sold in the US, Crimson Carnotaurus. But Land Cruisers are kind of a weird vehicle in the sense that they, I don't know, let's look at a 2025 Land Cruiser. Oh, they've changed a lot since I was selling them. But yeah, that's a Toyota Land Cruiser right there. Land Cruisers are weird in that they often have like 2 or 3 or even 4 different lifespans. Like, it's like a luxury vehicle, basically. They're so expensive. I don't think you can get one new for like less than $80,000. But they're so well built that they'll last decades. And so when they first come out, it's like, you know, a high status luxury kind of vehicle. Like someone with way too much money will purchase one. And then maybe 10 years later, they'll sell it. And then it won't be as new and shiny anymore. The next owner might use it for more off-roading, and then keep it for another decade and then sell it to somebody else. And then they'll add special off-road tires and all of these off-road lights and stuff. They might turn it into like a rock crawler or something. So it's a vehicle that's so mechanically sound and reliable that it lasts for decades and decades. And it goes from like a luxury vehicle when it's new to like a gnarly off-roader when it's 20 years old, 30 years old. That's kind of the life cycle of a vehicle like a Land Cruiser, which is kind of neat. Even though it is kind of a gas guzzler, I think these have got like a big V8 in them, not very fuel efficient. It's such a reliable, well-built vehicle that it might end up having fewer carbon emissions than like a small compact car, just in the sense that it stays on the road for longer. And so all of the emissions that go into manufacturing something like this, you know, since it's such a long-lived vehicle, you've got to factor it out over the entire lifespan of the thing. Rather than being like a cheaper car that's more like disposable in that sense, people might keep it for 10 years and then send it to the junkyard. Something like this will last 20, 30, 40 years easy if you take care of it. And so it is kind of a weasel word greener than other vehicles might be. Anyway, I have opinions on this kind of thing. But yeah. What made you stop riding your motorcycle? I just didn't like it that much, Miss Yvette, and then it got stolen. So yeah. But yeah. Toyota Wars. I'm familiar with that. Wars in Libya and North Africa, retired submariner. Yeah. Anywho, Yeah, all of that is because...
discoveries in fossil records in decades. Relying on his Land Cruiser, a remarkable man.
Xu Xing.
A remarkable Toyota.
Yeah, Xu Xing is the star of this documentary here. I thought reptiles were descendants of dinosaurs. No, only birds are. Yeah, I didn't think they were that far from each other in terms of common ancestor. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. So dinosaurs are a kind of reptile. And since birds are a kind of dinosaur, that means that birds are also a kind of reptile. Not the sort of thing that you probably learned in school, but unfortunately, biology isn't really taught well, especially in American schools. It's kind of nuts that, like, the most important concepts in all of biology, these things like, you know, like common descent, just don't typically get taught in schools. That's largely due to creationist influence. But that's a story for another time. New documentary, Emmy Awards. Oh, that's cool, Dr. Hubs. Oh, that's super, super cool. Neat. Yeah. Anywho. But yeah. And I'm from France. We've learned a lot about how we're not descendants of monkeys, but not so much about the other parts of the animal kingdom. I mean, well, we kind of are, though. It depends on what you mean by monkey. So, like, humans are descended from primates. We are a kind of primate because of that. But it's not like we evolved from modern monkeys. We share a common ancestor with those modern groups of monkeys. If we go to, let's look ourselves up on that grand and beautiful tree of life here. Let's go to good old Homo sapiens here. Yeah, that's what I meant? Yeah, I figured, Slurpmock, yeah. Anywho, yeah. So there's us right there. Next to us on the tree are bonobos and chimps. These are two kinds of chimpanzee. Pan troglodytes and Pan paniscus. They are both chimps. There's us. You know, go out to gorillas, orangutans. They're a little bit more distantly related, and we've got the rest of the apes. Things like gibbons. So, yeah. I'm going to go back a little bit further to the catarrhines, old world monkeys and apes, simiformes, haplorhines, and then to primates. So yeah, I don't know. You could say that we're descended from monkeys if you want to... Yeah, if haplorhine means monkey to you, then yeah, sure, we're descended from monkeys. It all kind of depends on your definition, you know? So yeah. Anywho. Yeah. I'm saying this as a dinosaur specialist here. I work on dinosaurs. Goodness, sweetie pie. So this is outside of my particular realm of expertise. I've never published on primates before. But yeah. But yeah, on modern monkeys, and there we go, Slurbuck. Yeah. So you were taught correctly. That's good. Here in the United States, we
This is a dinosaur, and this is a dinosaur too.
Thank you, Kulka Zulka, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. That first one wasn't a dinosaur. It was a dimetrodon. Pelycosaurus synapsid. But somebody else was saying that they thought that the intermediate forms between reptiles and mammals look weird. And that's something I need to correct real quick, because critters like dimetrodon and the other, what some people used to call mammal-like reptiles, not reptiles at all. This animal is not a dinosaur, and it's not even a reptile. It's basically like a proto-mammal. As soon as amniotes come onto land and start laying their eggs on land, you immediately there have a split between the ancestors of the mammals and the ancestors of the reptiles. the synapsids and the sauropsids, respectively. So mammals have never been reptiles. They've always been separate. Because as soon as critters start laying their eggs on land, right then you have that split between the synapsids and the sauropsids, the mammals and the reptiles. So, like when I was a kid, everybody talked about mammal-like reptiles. And oh, the mammals are descended from reptiles. It turns out that's not true. We have a better understanding of that now, and we shouldn't call the mammal ancestors reptiles at all, because they're not. They're not reptiles. Does that make sense? Yeah. Kill it on cases. Every stream I learn something new. Excellent. That's why you come here, right? That's why I do this. Is, you know, I wanna be a good resource for people trying to learn about natural history. So yeah. Anywho, yeah. Oh, and Jim is here. How are you doing, Jim? Hello. Everybody, Utah State paleontologist Jim Kirkland is there in the chat. And Jim says, although nearly 30 years old, I still seriously recommend
Simply astonishing.
Mistaken Extinction.
Singular specimens I've
Oh,
encountered
nice.
in all my distinguished career.
That's good stuff, Jim. I don't have that one.
About my work. What did you want to show me, Lisa?
Generic flesh canister. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Oh, good stuff. I'll see if I can find this on Thrift Books, Jim. I was just recommending a book by Luis Chiappe that also really holds up, even though it's a little bit on the old side. Good condition, hardcover, very good. Let me add that to cart here. Nice. This one right here, I still reference this from time to time. Glorified Dinosaurs by Luis Chiappe. Another excellent book about this topic. But, yeah. And Freelancer, E. coli bacteria. No, Freelancer bacteria are a different group. So E. coli is a particular... Oh, hang on, is the 3D printer done? Let me check on that. I'll be right back. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, we've got another piece of our Edmontosaurus skull. Running a life-size, big old duck-billed dinosaur from the latest Cretaceous of North America. Got a bit of maxilla right there with the teeth. This sucker's gonna be big, like a meter long. I'm excited. Anywho, where were we? Yeah, shoot, let's go to... Here's primates, monkeys, apes, and us. All life. So, if we're going to go to the origins of all life right here, the common ancestor of all living things on Earth would be right there. We don't know exactly what that critter looked like. Some sort of bacterium-like thing, some sort of archaea-like critter. But it's not E. coli. If we want to go to E. coli, it's going to be way over here. This is an extremely speciose clade. Escherichia in general, that genus has got, I don't know how many species, and we've got so many strains of E. coli. But, yeah, shoot. It's gonna take a while to get there. But yeah. There you go. Good stuff. Jim, are you still here in the chat? Because I found a video today that I didn't know existed. Take a look at this.
This project, we have a large section of rock that's full of very sensitive fossils and organization that we can't really move or cut up individually. And so what they're having to do is we're having to take this down a very steep slope.
Yeah, the Utah Raptor Mega Block.
Such a large section of rock without breaking it up is quite a challenge.
We are just north of Arches National Park.
There's
on
Jim's
a
voice.
section of state land, which bears a nice assemblage of dinosaurs that we discovered about 10 years ago now. We got a grad student to do a study of that big sandstone ledge behind me.
And Miss K's,
Did you ever, though,
thank
have a
you
moment
for the 3 months of
where
support.
it was kind of heartbreaking on
No.
restoring? Never.
No, glue is cheap.
Thank you, Miss K's. It's good to see you. Thanks for keeping me here.
As he was working, I told him, keep your eyes open for dinosaurs. And he reported back to me that he found what, the only thing he did find was what looked like a human arm bone sticking out of the rock. Something about this big around and hollow. It turned out to be a foot of a Utah raptor.
Huh.
We also had parts of a plant-eating dinosaur, an iguanodont. Basically, we think that was the attractor to bring these animals in. And we ended up finding 10 different jaws, every one of them with all the teeth in them. We now interpret this as probably the first good site where we have a lot of dinosaur skeletons that were trapped in quicksand. The preservation is exceptional.
Not great for them, but great for us.
Rings of vertebra, we'd find feet, leg bones, realizing we can't split it up. And that's when we made the decision, we got to take out a mammoth block.
There are other people who've dug up really big blocks.
There's Phil Policelli right there.
Drive some big piece of machinery up closer
Madsen,
to it and take advantage of it. There was hardly.
There's
any place to
Uncle
stand.
Don right there.
And so the difficulty now is getting a frame around this thing and getting it dragged down the hill to a flatbed so we can get it out of here.
Lower them and remove them as well.
Well, my big thing in terms of removing the base.
Very funny, Claire.
We clean it up, get the frame put on. And the frame on this is going to be like to the ground in the back.
The paleontologists worked real hard for years and years to get all this set up the way they needed it to be. And this rock is exactly where they found it, and it hasn't moved at all. So they actually built the framework around it and then had to remove rock underneath it to get it to set down on the sled.
So then last fall we were able to actually dig a tunnel underneath, and so that enabled us to put these big timbers in. And that was a little bit scary because you're just.
I'm so glad I found this morning. This is great.
You have this probably 10-ton block of rock, and you're underneath there plastering. It's a pretty solid frame here, some major bolts and hardware. So we're hoping that once we give it a little pull here, it'll all hold together pretty well.
And it did. Wow. Wow. What a beautiful noise. How's that for some ASMR, you know?
Yeah, I would think once he gets around there, it's going to be fairly
Yeah, pretty fast, too. Just music to my ears. Oh! Oh boy. See how heavy that thing is? Yowza.
Well, we've pulled the block off the mesa. One more mile of flat dirt, and hopefully we can load this thing up onto a semi-truck. Right now what we're going to do is we have a couple of guardrails, bolt them to the guardrail boots that we have on the front, because the wood has been wearing off the bottom. And if we go much farther like this, we wouldn't have anything holding it together at all. Very cool.
I'm so glad we have footage of this.
In the lab, the preparation
We know this exists. This is wonderful.
Microscopes on boom mounts by my team, which has 120 years of experience between the group of us. Now, finally getting this thing after 10 years down off the mountain, this is huge progress.
Yeah, good stuff. Here is a link to that video right there. You need a copy? There's the link right there for you, Jim. This is from the National Geographic YouTube channel. And, here, that block that was being dragged there is the same one that I was touring with Jim at the end of May here. And thank you, Neolithic Fool, for the 32 months of support. I really appreciate that.
Ontogeny.
Neolithic, thank you, thank you.
Danny in chat.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Neolithic. It's good to have you here. There we go.
Thank you again, Jim, for doing this. This has been really excited about this.
It's a nuts week.
Yeah, it really has been.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. Hope everybody's doing well. It's really good to see you. And if it's your first time here, welcome to Paleontologizing. My name is
You're
Danny
watching this,
Andrews.
Gravity?
I work with
Yeah.
Dinosaurs, and I stream paleontology outreach here on Twitch. We're going to be out in the field digging up dinosaurs. Shoot, in a couple days, I'll be out there in Wyoming. So and I'll be taking you along for the ride and live streaming whenever I can.
But first.
That's right.
Part of it.
Yeah.
You gotta interview.
It's going to be actual specimens. It's nothing else like it. Jim, do you want to tell us a little bit about this? What makes this so special?
We call it the Utah Raptor Mega Block.
Yeah.
For a short two-word.
Sorry, the alerts were so loud back then.
But
yeah,
it's we have interpreted this as being formed by quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was on.
Here, let's go to where we actually lift the tarp off of it so everybody can see what's going on. That was here.
And then we'll lift this, fold it, put it on top of that.
Nice.
That'll lift. As they say, lift and separate. Because you don't want to drag it over the bones. So you lift it up, get it up well above. Let's go over, and then we can kind of do that.
Okay.
And on this, grab each corner.
Each corner?
It's going to
Okay.
be tricky. Lift well up.
Yep.
Get above the top. Bring it over. Yeah.
Okay.
Put her
Nice.
down.
Yeah, watch out for that bone there. Nice. All right. Look at that. Look at the density of bones here. This is nuts.
And the thing is, you can see this, the farthest thing away, we're still, haven't even gotten into that yet.
Uh-huh.
But, we have skull stuff in the middle, disarticulated skull here, just a couple skulls over there.
Ontogeny.
Yeah, part of a big one, we had an adult partial skull that came out of right here.
Uh-huh.
First big adult Utah Raptor brain case from the jaw.
Is it still being worked on? It is, and it will be for decades after this point, Petrodactylus. Absolutely.
We should have had it turned the other way. But that is a very pretty side.
Uh-huh.
But when you look down on this slope here is literally the natural slope at the edge of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
It really was. We couldn't go in at all because of the bone. But you see, there's intervals that don't have so much bone. But as you see in the mushroom, which was up over there in reality, you always have to flip myself around because it's backwards compared to the way we had it in the hill. This would be like pinned into the back of the hill here. But
anyway, really, really incredible stuff in here. Like, we've got some clips where Jim will point out a few of the different elements on here, but we've just got, all kinds of wonderful bones. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking down on there.
Yeah, that little bowl right there.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So this is, post-entry, cerangular, and you can see these fractures because of the way this thing had collapsed. This maxilla goes and you can see.
Yeah, look at that. So the maxilla is the, like I've got an Allosaurus maxilla right here, and of course right here too. That's this big bone, tooth-bearing bone right here, maxilla. That's what you're looking at right here.
If you look over
Little
there,
tiny one from a baby.
there is a beautiful maxilla.
Look at that. Yeah, right
That's
here.
one of the things. You can just name that dinosaur after that maxilla.
So you're looking at like the lingual side right there. So you're looking at like you're inside the mouth at the right
You see a little
maxilla.
juvenile.
Look at those teeth.
The alerts kept.
Yeah, right there.
Messing
Nice
with the
femur right there.
bandwidth
There's
during
the
this.
femoral head where it attaches with the hips.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And here's the back of the upper pelvic bone.
Yeah. And you did see teeth there, Gravity, absolutely. Yeah. And Dread
Here's
Pirate
another
Robert.
animal where you can see there's been a fracture.
Very funny, Dread
This
Pirate
bone
Robert.
scan, you see all the ribs coming off of this right
Good to have you here,
there.
though.
We have a coracoid and a scapula. So the scapula goes all the way to here, all the way over to here. And this is probably from this animal. I would expect it could be.
Anyway, really, really cool. So Utah raptor is a really important animal because, like the rest of its dromaeosaur kin, like the rest of those critters, Utah raptor is very closely related to birds. So Utah raptor is the big brown guy right here. You've got Deinonychus behind it, Dromaeosaurus in front of it. It's a big critter, big animal. But they're all part of Dromaeosauridae, this family of dinosaurs that's very closely related to birds. And some of them may have actually been able to fly. Like, they may have actually had legitimate powered flight. We're not totally sure about animals like Microraptor. That's number 1 that you see there, closer to the person. We don't know if they actually had powered flight or if they were just gliding or what exactly they were doing. But, yeah, dromaeosaurids are really important animals if you want to understand the origin of birds, because they're super close to the origin of birds. If you talk to different researchers, you'll get different answers as to which dinosaur family is the closest to the ancestry of birds. It's either dromaeosaurids or troodontids, depending on who you ask. But, yeah. But yeah, good stuff. Ulug Begsaurus. Can't say I'm familiar with that. What? Oh, it's this guy from Uzbekistan. Yeah. It would not be 5 times the size of T-Rex. I thought you were making a joke about that 65 movie. Anyway, yeah. So it's estimated at 7 to 8 meters in length. So it's like a medium-sized theropod, you know? Yeah. Anyway, this would be like a Carcharodontosaur. So, something like something kind of like this, but you know, just not as big as this guy. Yeah. So it's like a little bit bigger than Dilophosaurus, a little bit smaller than like an adultish Allosaurus. Yeah. And it's not a Tyrannosaur at all, League. No. So yeah. It's irritating to me how sometimes, you know, in news media they'll say, "Oh, this dinosaur's a missing link between T-Rex." It's not related to Tyrannosaurus. Like it's from a different branch on the theropod family tree. So this is a Carcharodontosaur, which is a, you know, it's an Allosauroid dinosaur, so it's not closely related to the Tyrannosaurs at all. Carcharodontosaurs are, you know, they're kind of Allosauroid, so Carnosauria / Allosauroidea. Interesting, that term has come back, Carnosauria. So anyway, they're an outgroup. Tyrannosaurus is more closely related to like ornithomimids, than it is to Allosauroids. You came to the right place. There you go, League. Yeah, I'm glad you're here. The article sounded like it was written by someone who is not a paleontologist. Yeah, no kidding. Anyway, it's good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Anyway. So that's where this guy would be on the family tree. Carcharodontosaurs, like this critter, are not super close to the tyrannosaurs. Tyrannosaurs are closer to the ornithomimosaurs, and depending on how you look at it, maybe closer to the Maniraptorans, which includes modern dinosaurs, like this rock dove here, but it also includes the dromaeosaurs. These guys. And we're going to see some of them in this documentary here. So let's get back to this, shall we?
Dotted with tropical.
So this is no longer the latest specimen, but let's take a look. Then I'll show you the latest specimen.
And despite its fragmentary, it's not completely precise.
And do we know if there was a vocal apparatus to try and recreate how it sounded? Not for Archaeopteryx, not yet. With the new Chicago specimen, who knows what'll happen. We've got excellent skull morphology now, but I don't know if there's any soft tissue there from like a larynx, syrinx, or anything. Yeah, the closest thing we've got is from an animal called Vagavus. We can find you a video. Here.
Researchers have found the oldest known fossil organ of a bird in Antarctica. The voice box is from a species related to ducks and geese that lived during the age of dinosaurs more than 66 million years ago. A National Science Foundation-funded team led by the University of Texas, Austin, discovered the ancient vocal organ called a syrinx and its apparent absence from non-bird dinosaur fossils of the same age. Researchers believe the organ may have originated late in the evolution of birds after the origin of flight.
So that unique vocal apparatus that many modern birds have, that syrinx, is probably something that they developed after they evolved from dinosaurs. So this is not something that would have been there in their dinosaurian ancestors. Other dinosaurs like Velociraptor, Tyrannosaurus, Allosaurus, Utahraptor, they wouldn't have had something like this. They probably wouldn't have had a syrinx. They very well may have had a similar organ, but the syrinx is probably like a true bird feature that's not a hand-me-down from their dinosaur ancestors. It's something that birds evolved later on. That's the current consensus.
The organ may have originated late in the evolution of birds after the origin of flight. Drawing on their research, team leader Julia Clark said that other dinosaurs may not have been able to make noises similar to modern bird calls, but most likely made closed-mouth sounds similar to ostrich booms that don't require a syrinx. The organ was found in a fossil species called Vagavus I. The fossil was discovered in 1992 on Vega Island in the Antarctic Peninsula by a team from the Argentine Antarctic Institute. It was named in 2005 by Clark and Argentine colleagues. But it wasn't until 2013 Clark discovered the fossil syrinx in the new specimen and began analysis. The international team may figure out what dinosaurs sounded like, gaining insight into the origins of birdsong.
And there's a new paper that just came out today, I think, about vocal apparatus in duckbill dinosaurs. Big plant-eating duckbills. But, yeah. And yes, indeed, ostriches make sounds petrodactylous. Yeah, shoot. Ostriches and emus and cassowaries. Emus in particular. But let me find you an ostrich. Let's see. There you go. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Yeah, emus as well. They make this booming noise. Yeah, drumming and rumbling. There you go, Bush Doctor. Yeah. Yeah. So this is from a bird that's, it's large, but it's not like, allosaur-sized. Imagine an animal with a similar kind of vocal apparatus that's that big. Yeah. That's the drumming there that you're hearing. Pretty darn cool. And yeah, I've been in museums where they have background sounds that are based on birds like this. They'll use ostrich and emu noises. Yeah, Museum of the Rockies in the Hall of Giants in particular. They had sound effects that were these kinds of recordings, and also here bird sounds slowed down dinosaur. There we go. Yeah, birds sound like non-avian dinosaurs when slowed down. There we go. So you just lower the frequency. Yeah. Oh, and very cool, Anita. That sounds really neat. Yeah. How cool is that? So yeah, if you ever have to have dinosaur sounds for any reason for a creative project, take bird sounds and slow them down. Lots of examples of this. Red-tailed hawk. Female mallard. Loon yodel. Here, I gotta go check on the 3D printer. It's making bad sounds. Speaking of sounds, I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Sorry, I had to get the 3D printer set up with a new spool after our last print failed. So cross your fingers, this one goes off without a hitch. And again, for those of you who weren't here last week, this is what I am currently printing. A life-size Edmontosaurus skull. The file here is supposed to be 1/2 of life-size, but I've doubled it in size, so it is life-size again. I'm not super happy about the lower jaw, which is now almost done. The teeth are kind of wonky, but I can fix that afterward. Anyway, big duck-billed dinosaur. It would look like this. Good old Edmontosaurus, the biggest dinosaur in the Hell Creek Formation. And holy cow, Executive Storm, thank you for the 10 gift subs there. Speaking of dinosaurs, including birds, and the calls they make, here's a lovely Tinamou bird. Getting very excited about Executive Storm's generosity there. Thank you for the 10 gift subs, Executive Storm. Look at how excited this little dinosaur is. I mean, oh shoot.
Executive Storm is overloading the system with 10 gift subs.
Thank you, Executive Storm, for your generosity. I appreciate that. Look, we're almost a quarter of the way to our sub goal now for the week. For the next, well, today and the next 2 days. But yeah. Shadier Tree, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Slow Woody Woodpecker laugh. That probably would be pretty ominous, huh? Anyway, not bad for a Monday. There you go, Luca. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, this is the critter I'm printing. Its skull right here. Edmontosaurus. The biggest dinosaur in the Hell Creek. They get bigger than T-Rex. I don't know if they get this much bigger, but they do get bigger than T-Rex. It's the biggest dinosaur in the Hell Creek Formation. And it's, yeah. It's got a good skull. That's what I'm printing right now. Let me make sure that the print nozzle is at the right temperature. Yeah, there we go. We're looking good. But yeah. The reason I bring this up is not only because the 3D printer necessitated me going and looking at it, but we've got, I think, a new paper that's just come out about vocalizations in duck-billed dinosaurs. Oh, am I missed? Maybe that hasn't actually come out yet. Shoot. Sorry to tease you like that. But, no, I don't think it's officially come out yet. Anyhow. Yeah. Yeah. Gravity says, do some fields of paleontology study birds to better understand dinosaurs? Asks Slurpmonk. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. I mean, many dinosaur paleontologists will study birds to better understand dinosaurs. An excellent example is this. A paper that some of my colleagues published back in, I think, 2012? It was 2009. The predatory ecology of Deinonychus and the origin of flapping in birds. So by looking at modern birds and how they use their wings, especially birds of prey, we're able to make inferences about how dromaeosaurs, you know, raptor dinosaurs, would have used their wings. We know that they had feathers. They had these long, kind of aerodynamically optimized feathers on their arms, wings essentially. But they're too big and heavy to fly, so what's the deal? Why do they need aerodynamic wings if they're not flying? It might be because they evolved from an ancestor that could fly. These guys might actually be legitimately birds. If they evolved from a bird ancestor, if if they evolved from the common ancestor of all birds, that would make them birds too. That could be the case, but it might also just be that they evolved wings like this in order to flap to stay upright on top of their prey as they're sinking their claws into it and eating it. That might be the origin of the avian flight stroke. Like, how do you evolve the ability to fly before you have the ability to fly? You know, what is the selective pathway that natural selection can kind of guide you in if you're going to end up flying? Because it's got to work every step of the way. That whole argument, like, what good is half a wing? This is one potential answer for that, you know? With half a wing, you can still flap your arms in order to generate a little bit of lift to stay upright on top of your prey as it's struggling, you know? So yeah, stabilization, Jerry Rick. Basically, yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. Anywho. Have any digestive stones been found in dinosaur fossils? They have been, Freelancer, yeah, and we'll probably take a look at some with this video later. But Caudipteryx is a good example of that. And Lenina, thank you for gifting Nana Tyrannus there. I appreciate you, Lenina. We're a quarter of the way to our sub goal now. Beautiful. Is Nana in here right now? I didn't see her. Anywho, Caudipteryx is a little feathery dinosaur from China. And see that mass of pebbly stuff in its guts? Those are gastroliths, stomach stones. See it a bit better right there, maybe. I think we've got multiple Caudipteryx specimens at this point that have got those gastroliths, stomach stones. Yeah. Oh, goodness. Reddit. You almost have to put no Reddit in Google image search so you don't get stuff like that. Dr. Irrefutable, thank you for the 10 gift subs there. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Irrefutable. Again, this lovely Tinamou bird. So excited about your generosity. Just, Get out of there. It's gonna blow. Oh, shoot.
Dr._Irrefutable is overloading the system with 10 gift subs.
Thank you for that, Dr. Irrefutable. And Lucas TWC, thank you for the follow. Dr. Irrefutable, thank you for your support. I really appreciate that. Oh, and Sweetie Pie's excited about that too, aren't you, Sweetie? Yeah. Anywho, let's get back to where we were with evolution of birds from their dinosaur ancestors. Good stuff. Thank you, Dr. Irrefutable. Gregory for the 100 bits there. I do really appreciate that. Thank you, Gregory, for your support. Good stuff. Sweetie Pie, what do you think? Yeah? You excited about that hype train? We're approaching a level 3 here. About 3.5 minutes left. What are you doing, sweetie? What are you doing? Oh. Yeah, you want those face squishes? She loves when I squish her face like that. It's like her favorite thing. Yeah. There you go. There we go. Yeah. Thank you, Evelyn Rose.
We have the Tradoon.
Thank you, Evelyn Rose, for the 10 months of support. Really appreciate that.
Trajune.
Good stuff. Oh, sweetie pie.
Trajune.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're purring like crazy. Yeah. Scooby says, how old is Sweetie Pie? I think she's about 6 years old, maybe. That sound about right, Sweetie Pie? Yeah? Yeah. You really have to look at her teeth to figure it out. That's how you can age most mammals, as you look at their tooth morphology. Yeah. Anyhow.
I think you should enjoy science as much as you can. And you can't enjoy science alone. You have to share it.
Thank you, XVR, for the 2 months of support. Thanks for helping us all enjoy science together through your continued support. That means a lot. It really does. Yeah. Aw, Sweetie Pie. Yeah. Good stuff.
If you're feeling a bit cheated, try blaming the dinosaurs.
And thank you, Evelyn Rose, for the 100 bits. Lovely. Really appreciate it. Yeah. What do you think, Sweetie Pie? Who's in there? Is that Chat in there? Chat in there? What do you think?
Oh, what time, oh, what fun, playing tag with the big dog.
Interstellar Dust Bunny, thank you for the 100 bits. Beautiful. Yeah. You want some more treats, don't you? And thank you, Evelyn Rose, for an additional 100 bits there. Well, well, well. Yeah. Nell says, look at that gorgeous mammal. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Nell. Unless you're talking about Sweetie Pie. Let's face it, you're probably talking about Sweetie Pie. Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get you some more treats, huh? You want some more treats? Is that what you want? Ooh, of course it is. There you go. We're running dangerously low on these. Oh. And there she goes. You didn't even eat all of them. There's more up here. Hey. Look. Listen. There's more up here. You want them? I think she knocked one on the ground and she went after it. She's letting them save them as you're so low, says Claire. I don't know. What do you think, Sweetie Pie? Are you going to come back up? Oh, I think she's going to come back up. Anyway, we'll give her a minute here. Let's
1893, Liaoning, a huge fossil deposit was found dating from the Cretaceous period.
Nice.
125 million years ago. This region, formerly known as Manchuria.
And thank you, Ms. Yvette, for the 300 bits. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Yvette. Thank you, Kyle.
Comprises fertile farmland with fields.
There were some paleontologists, I think like Alan Fiducia, chief among them, who argued back in the 90s, right after these initial discoveries, in the announcement of feathered dinosaurs like Sinosauropteryx, they said, oh, well, you know, birds can't have evolved from dinosaurs. Dinosaurs can't have feathers, so those have to be something else. They've got to be the rotted remains of skin or something like that. You know, collagen fibers in the skin, preserved during decomposition. And so that was another hypothesis for a while, but careful study of these show that no, they definitely are feathers, which is really cool.
Was undoubtedly covered in feathers, but this land animal was incapable of flight.
Yeah, and Gazaway, let's see. Apologize for the tangent. I was listening to a podcast that one of the scientists trying to bring the dodo back from extinction. He feels we'll never be able to clone dinosaurs. Like Mesozoic, non-avian dinosaurs. We don't have any DNA from them yet, so yeah. But we could potentially de-engineer them from birds. How would you feel about having the potential for studying de-engineered dinosaurs? I mean, so Gosway, my old boss is, like, that was his project. Here.
The controversy still rages, and the stakes are high. If blood vessels can survive 80 million years, what about DNA? Jack Horner is looking.
Yeah,
His crews
still no
now wearing
DNA yet.
Surgical gloves, unheard of in the world of
There's Liz there.
paleontology, where no one used to worry about getting skin cells, sweat, even an occasional spilled beer on fossils. Jack is skeptical that the full dinosaur DNA sequence will ever be found.
I agree.
But that hasn't stopped him. He's come up with a whole new idea for his dream of making a dinosaur.
The best way is just to use a modern dinosaur, the chicken.
Yep.
Because evolution works, birds are actually carrying ancestral DNA.
Horner has written a book proposing a plan to mine that ancestral DNA as a way to reverse engineer a chicken into what he calls a dino chicken.
Yep.
It may seem improbable that this is carrying DNA from something like this.
But it
But when
totally
you
is.
think
They're
about
both
it,
theropods.
Birds,
Yeah.
like the dinosaurs they evolved from, still walk on hind legs. Most
Yep.
have 3 toes pointing forward with 1 in the back, and they even all have wishbones.
Yes,
As
indeed.
for dinosaur features you don't see in modern chickens, like long tails, Horner's contention is they can be brought back, since you can still see them in embryos as little chicks grow.
As the chicken embryo develops, it does develop a fairly long tail before a gene kicks on and destroys it. So if we can stop that gene, we theoretically can get a chicken to hatch out with a relatively long tail.
So you're not saying actually change the gene.
Just switching a gene on or switching a gene off.
He says picture a chicken with a long
we go.
tail, teeth, and little claw-like hands instead of wings.
So it's still a chicken. It's just modified to have more superficially, you know, like legacy theropod characteristics. Long tail, claws, teeth in the jaws. Yeah. And it turns out when you get them to develop teeth, they also develop more of a, you know, like Deinonychus-like snout. There's a team on the East Coast, I think maybe at Yale or Harvard, I think it was Harvard, where they actually did that, and it works. The tail is proved to be the most difficult part. Gosway says, I find the idea interesting, but with no reference. How do we know when we've actually engineered a real dinosaur? I mean, you don't have to. This already is a real dinosaur. A chicken already is 100% a real dinosaur. So is a turkey, so is a hummingbird, so is a penguin, so is an ostrich. All birds are legitimately real living dinosaurs. We just call them birds. But they evolved from a dinosaur ancestor, so they are dinosaurs. So you would never get like a Mesozoic dinosaur. Trying to take a chicken and turn it into a velociraptor is just not going to work. You can't get there. You can make it look superficially like a dinosaur, but it's not going to be, you know, a Mesozoic dinosaur like Velociraptor. Those are gone, and we don't have their genetic code. It's not like we could even reproduce that from scratch if you could somehow change all of the genes to make it exactly like... We don't know what those genes are like, so we can't even get there. This is more of a, you know, Jack has always said that he's wanted to be able to go onto stage in front of a group of kids with a dino chicken under his arm and ask them, "What is this?" You know, it looks like a chicken, but it's got teeth. It's got claws on its hands. It's got a long bony tail. You know? Yeah, so it started off as almost kind of a flight of fancy, almost like a gimmick. Yeah, Dana Rashid, who I think is still head of this project. I hung out with her for a while back when I lived in Montana when she was working on this. I think she's still working on it. Yeah.
It takes a really long time, not just for all of these changes to occur, but for them to be selected for and to spread throughout a population.
Yeah.
What I study is the long, deep evolution of birds from Mesozoic dinosaurs. I've been working with Jack Horner on this project, the Dino Chicken Project, and it was indeed inspired by the Jurassic Park movies. Jack is famous for saying, "Why don't we turn a chicken into a dinosaur? Why not?" He surmised that we could learn a heck of a lot about dinosaur to bird evolution, and as usual, he was right. But there's a lot to study here, because we're looking at about 150 million years of evolutionary change between what is generally regarded as the first bird, Archaeopteryx, my favorite dinosaur,
I don't know if that would
and say a modern
help this
chicken.
project, Ms. Yvette, but it's a cool
Because there's
idea.
a lot to study, we had to narrow it down. We decided to start with bird tail evolution. In the Jurassic and Cretaceous, the most primitive birds had long, reptilian-like tails. But
Like our Archaeopteryx here. You got this long, bony tail like this, which modern birds don't have.
about 130 million years ago, the fossil record shows a sudden appearance of short-tailed birds. Long and short-tailed birds coexisted for a couple million years, but since then, all birds have had this modern tail configuration. There are fewer vertebrae in the tail, and the vertebrae at the end are all fused together into a structure called the pygostyle.
Oh yeah,
This modern tail has been hugely advantageous for birds, with improvements to flight lift and aerodynamics, and concomitant changes in tail feathers likely impacted sexual selection. Female birds seem to think that male birds with striking tail feather displays are pretty shiny. So, how do we study bird tail evolution, or really any event that occurred millions of years ago?
You can look at the
For
fossils.
this, we use a strategy called Evo
but if we don't have
Evo,
fossils,
evolutionary
you can do this.
developmental biology. We are currently at an incredible crossroads in science, where multiple fields are converging together to give us unprecedented understanding of biology. Paleontology is no exception. We can now combine paleontology and developmental biology.
So somebody had a question earlier, a little while ago, like, are there any dinosaur paleontologists who study birds to try and learn about dinosaurs? Yes. Dana Rashid is one of those. Like, this is one of the ways you can do that.
To understand not just what happened and when, but now we can understand how something happened.
Yeah.
So using Evo-Devo, where do we start? Well, we start with the fossil record. The fossil record shows us that about 130 million years ago, there was an abrupt transition of long to short tails, and despite lots and lots of searching, no one has ever found a Cretaceous intermediate form, like a bird with a short tail without a pygostyle, without that fusion of vertebrae at the end. So now that we know the what, tail shortening and tail fusion, and the when, 130 million years ago, what steps do we take to get to the how? We look at DNA, at genetics. We don't have Mesozoic dinosaur DNA yet, but we do have modern dinosaur bird DNA. We also have the DNA for a whole slew of different vertebrates. And since we're all vertebrates, we can look, and we all share the same basic set of genes, we can look far and wide in living vertebrates to see how changes in DNA cause particular physical changes. We can also look at development. The way a structure forms in an embryo can provide significant clues as to how that structure evolved. Combining DNA analysis and development gives us a powerful double punch strategy to look at deep time evolution.
Which is really, really cool. So by by trying to engineer a chicken with a longer tail, by trying to get that tail to lengthen during its embryology as the embryo is developing, we can learn about these processes for how these structures develop at all. Because right now we don't understand it. We don't understand how tails shorten like that. We don't understand how it happens in modern birds as they're developing embryos, and we don't understand it for how birds lost their tails, how those tails shortened through evolution back in the Cretaceous period. So really, really important project for understanding those things, but like many, many things in science, there's some potential kind of spin-offs. There might be some surprise benefits to learning about this.
If we can understand how changes in DNA cause physical changes, we can better understand how traits evolve, and we can better interpret the fossil record.
But that's not all.
Since the Dino Chicken Project is an out-of-the-box type endeavor, we've made some out-of-the-box discoveries. One surprising finding is a correlation with ankylosing spondylitis, a human disease where your vertebrae fuse together and the discs between your vertebrae can erode. It's a rather horrible, debilitating disease.
This is like your vertebrae basically fuse, so like your neck can just get stuck like that, as I understand it. I'm sure I'm grossly oversimplifying, but imagine that if you're trying to picture what this disease does. You know? Awful. A lot of people suffer from this, and it's not well understood because we don't have a good like model organism to study this kind of thing in. Like, you can't study it in mice really because mice don't really have fused vertebrae like this. You know how like a lot of discoveries in medicine come from like, you know, looking at mice or other critters like that? Here.
And it looks a lot like the fusion of bones at the end of the chicken tail. Since there's no good animal model for ankylosing spondylitis, we're proposing to study it in the chicken. Who knew?
Yeah. So, who knows? With more funding and more people studying this, trying to study how those vertebrae fuse and how to keep them from fusing in a chicken so that you can get a long bony tail in your dino chicken, we might be able to unlock the secrets for how to cure ankylosing spondylitis, you know?
Following all of these clues in genetics and development makes me feel like a detective in my very own whodunit story. Like detectives, we as scientists have hunches or hypotheses as to how we think something happened or how something worked. I can tell you I've had many, many hypotheses, and I am almost always wrong.
That's how it goes in science.
But I don't mind. Really, really, I don't, because in every case I've been wrong. The real biology has been far more amazing than my imagination could have ever conceived.
That's how it
Every
goes.
day I walk into lab and ask, how will my mind be blown today? And I am rarely disappointed. This reverence for nature I've had since I was a kid, when I found out that the world is actually billions of years old, and we didn't just magically appear, but we, like every other living thing on this planet, have long and rich, varied and beautiful evolutionary histories. It's been an incredible privilege working on this project, and it's been an absolute privilege talking to you today. Thank you.
Good stuff. If you want to watch the whole talk, there is the link there in the chat for you. And, yeah. I really love Dana's perspective there, because that is a question that I get sometimes. Sometimes people are trying to be nasty, but sometimes they're asking an earnest question like, well, what good is paleontology? Why study fossils? What value does that have for society at large? And there are sometimes some immediate benefits like that. Like there's the potential to help cure certain diseases. You know, if we can understand how these developmental procedures work. But most of the benefits from paleontology come from kind of providing perspective for us. If we didn't have the study of fossils, we wouldn't know where we come from as human beings. We would be completely ignorant to that. that's one of the oldest questions that humanity has. Is who are we and where do we come from? How did we get here? And fossil science answers that. Like, we don't have to guess about it or make up stories. We can discover what really happened through the fossil record. And we can discover our place in this history of life on our planet Earth. And that's absolutely invaluable. You know, that's incredibly important to have that kind of understanding. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And on that same note of uncovering the history of life on Earth, let's get back to this.
So what?
Oh, and hang on. Have I seen this short? It's you. What is this, Claire?
Why is paleontology and geology important? It provides perspective. If you want to really understand the present, you've got to know a thing or two about the past, you know?
Oh, yeah.
If you want to understand why things are the way they are today, you know, why certain living things are the way they are, well, you got to look at their ancestry to really understand them at a deep level. That's what paleontology is good for. And also just to kind of guard against hubris, too. Yeah. Fossil science and geology, these fields give you a perspective that you wouldn't otherwise have. When you study earth science, when you study geology, when you study paleontology, it makes you humble because you realize that we are here in our present moment, this tiny, tiny sliver of time in this vast history of life on Earth. And there have been creatures like dinosaurs that roamed our planet for over 170 million years. They were incredibly successful creatures, and then one day they disappeared. Knowing that that can happen instills a certain degree of humility. Why is paleontology and geology important? It provides perspective. If you want to really understand the present...
There we go. Good stuff.
Use was this dino fuzz.
Salamander says, man, having a moment, these geological forces that are practically inconceivable also have the ability to preserve prehistoric life in such incredible detail. What a time to be alive. What a world. What a planet we live on. It really is astonishing. And it's so cool that we get to understand this by studying it. You know, using science as a tool to broaden our horizons, to figure out our place in all of this. It's so, so cool. That's why I'm streaming here. That's what this is all about, you know? I want to share this with everybody. Well, thank you for that, Salamander. Yeah.
Paleontologists believe that two-legged dinosaurs run along the ground in order to take off. But Microraptor's climbing claws opened up a new possibility. 125 million years ago, in the part of China that Microraptor called home.
And Jim says, is paleontology in China different than in the West? I.e., is their focus of study different because the environment was different? Thus the fossils are different? So there are different, you know, there are unique geological formations in China, certainly. And they've got different dinosaurs, different mammals, different everything. But the focus of study is largely the same in the West, yeah. One thing is that in China, they often have much better funding, because the Chinese government is much more supportive of science, frankly, than the American government is. So, yeah, we see that reflected in the number of papers that are being published and the number of fossils that are being discovered and all kinds of stuff like that. The number of museums that are being built in particular. There are multiple new museums built every year in China, and that's not the case here. But yeah, no, apart from that, we're still doing the same stuff. We've just got different fossils to work on, you know? And there's a lot of cooperation between, you know, I've got friends and colleagues who've moved to China. In order to work on Chinese fossils. Here, like this.
Most people don't know that China has a lot of dinosaurs.
This is Alida Bayul.
Big diversity of
We worked together in 2011
China
in the Hell Creek
is
Formation,
really
digging
one
up
of
some
the best
Triceratops
places in the world right now to do paleontology on dinosaurs and birds.
Yeah.
China is the new land of dinosaurs, I would say.
Yeah.
My name is Alida Bayel. If people ask me what is my job, then I tell them.
Hey, Science, how are you doing, Bullet?
On the evolution of birds and dinosaurs. I'm an associate researcher and professor at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, Institute of Vertebrate Paleontology and Paleoanthropology. Paleontology is the study of life on Earth.
Anyway, yeah. And let's see. Jim says, right, I was just thinking maybe China was underwater or something, so they're able to study sea-based fossils or something like that. So China's a huge country. I don't know if it was ever completely submerged by water, but there are marine fossils from China. Not as many as there are in the U.S. But yeah, I don't know. These particular... I'll give you a link to this one, by the way, with Alita there. I don't know why this doesn't have more views. But these fossils being talked about here, like that Xuxing was studying, were formed in this ancient, like, volcanic basin. So you had volcanoes spewing out all this volcanic ash. Really, really good kind of matrix for preserving fossils in. So that's one thing, but you also have places like that in other parts of the world too. So it's not like China's completely unique there. I think what kind of makes China unique right now is just that there's a lot of financial support for scientific discovery, more so than just about anywhere else in the world.
The ground was fertilized.
And not marine Cretaceous. There you go, Jim. Yeah, yeah. I don't even, do they have any marine Jurassic? I was just thinking, we've got the Western Interior Seaway here in, you know, in the U.S., but they don't really have anything like that in China during the Cretaceous. I want to say they did during the Triassic, but I could definitely be wrong. But yeah, anyway, Jim, it's good to see you. Maybe you tuned out earlier, but we were watching the here. We were watching this earlier, Jim, because I thought you were here.
It's quite a good challenge.
There's a nice assemblage of dinosaurs that we discovered about 10 years ago now.
So there's Jim Kirkland in the chat, and here's Jim Kirkland here.
Study of that big sandstone ledge behind me.
Oh yeah, you were here. Never mind. I gave you the link. Sorry. Live broadcast. There's a lot going on. But anyway, it's good to see you, Jim. I hope you're doing well. Happy early Thanksgiving.
By volcanic ash that encourage the growth of lush
did catch
vegetation.
It. Excellent.
Tall trees add a vertical dimension to the landscape, and the Microraptor means...
Yeah, I don't know if they could do this, like full-on splits like this, Jean-Claude Van Damme style. I don't think they could do that. Email link, please. You got it, Jim. Anywho, Devolve says, did pterodactyls predate feather evolution? Probably, maybe. We're not totally sure. That's the thing, is that they definitely predate birds. Pterosaurs, like I was talking about earlier in the stream. Pterosaurs are flying reptiles. They're not dinosaurs, and they're definitely not birds. But they're like a group of reptiles that's pretty closely related to dinosaurs, but they're not dinosaurs themselves. These guys first show up in the Triassic period around the same time that the first dinosaurs do. Before birds. Birds show up later in the Jurassic. And pterosaurs were covered by a kind of fuzzy, filamentous something? Some kind of fuzzy coating, covering, integument like this? We don't know if those are something unique to pterosaurs, or maybe those are a kind of hair-like proto-feather. If they're a kind of hair-like proto-feather, then that means that the ancestor of the dinosaurs and the pterosaurs both had that. So dinosaurs would have had this by default. This would have been like a basal dinosaurian trait. So yeah, pterosaurs may have had brightly colored feathers, exquisite fossil reveals. So really, really well preserved pterosaur fossils from Brazil, I think it is. Like like this tapajarid right here. They've got these wonderful hair-like filaments that may or may not be the same thing as like proto-feathers, like dino fuzz, you know? So we're still trying to figure that out. It's a tricky one. So yeah. That's one of those mysteries that's ongoing at the moment. And we're having bits of evidence that are popping up on either side of that debate, and so this will be in the next few years, we might even have a definitive answer on whether or not those are legit proto-feathers. Again, it's an exciting time to be studying fossils. Anywho. And Evelyn Rose says, were pterosaurs outcompeted by birds? Is it possible for flying reptiles to evolve again, do you think? I don't know if they were outcompeted by birds. Pterosaurs got really big by the end of the Cretaceous. You've got like the Asdarchids, which are like as tall as T-Rex. You know, these are like giraffe-sized animals when they're walking around on the ground. Here's a model being worked on. Doesn't have the coating yet. But they really did get that big. It seems like pterosaurs kind of trend upward in size throughout the Mesozoic. I don't know if the small ones were as common, so it could be that the pterosaurs were getting outcompeted by birds in the smaller niches. So like being a smaller flying animal. Maybe birds were just better at that, and they're kind of forcing these guys into larger and larger body sizes. Maybe? Or I don't know. I don't know enough about pterosaurs and about the late Cretaceous record for pterosaurs to say whether or not small pterosaurs were on the way out or something like that. I don't know. But birds and pterosaurs did coexist for like 100 million years. Or 80 million years. For a long time. Birds and pterosaurs coexisted. And then most of the birds went extinct at the end of the Cretaceous period, except for a handful of species, and all of the pterosaurs did. So that's why we have birds today and we don't have pterosaurs. As for whether or not flying reptiles can ever evolve again, I mean, sure, lots of things are possible, I suppose. There is a group of lizards today, like Dracovolans, that do glide. It's pretty darn cool. Take a look at this. Check this out. And gliding stinks. Yeah, Rhicodactylus, yeah. Yeah. Uh-oh. Or fly. Or flight. Yeah. Fight or flight. He chooses flight. Check that out. Yeah. Pretty darn cool. And isn't that cool, flower water? Yeah. It takes a lot of work to put a documentary like this together. A nature show. So yeah. Good stuff. Oh, here, let me give you a link to that. That's from from Planet Earth 2. So that's gliding flight that lizards like this have evolved. Here. Draco volans. Common flying dragon, it's called. Now, that's gliding flight, so it's different from actual flight, powered flight, where you're flapping, where you can move up, you can power yourself up. These guys have got to climb up to a tall tree, and then they're always losing a bit of altitude when they glide down. It is falling with style, as the saying goes. Yeah, there's multiple species within Draco. That's really cool. Nice. Yeah, very neat. But there's a whole bunch. Shoot. I didn't realize there were so many species of Draco. That's so neat. 42 species. That is a lot. Holy cow. And they are, I guess they're kind of a gomid lizard? Yeah. Cool. Anyhow, could they evolve actual powered flight? I suppose it's possible. Give them a few tens of millions of years, maybe. I don't know. But that's their rib cage that extends like that. Yeah, it's pretty wild how it works. Here. There we go. So watch this. They, Oh, here's a snake coming after him. Oh, wait, this is from Wild Snakes. This guy's great.
These are just some of the questions that people ask about.
Thank you, Yarrow Flower, for the follow. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Good to have you here.
In this case, a human is still in hot pursuit. The lizard unleashes its superpowers.
It's Peko Sank.
The flying Draco leaps into the air and glides to another tree.
Yep.
That's its rib cage. Flares out its membrane-covered rib cage to create wings, and gliding flights up to 60 meters have been recorded.
How wild is that?
There's another twist to the story, though. The snake is a flying snake.
Yep. Here is a link. Really, really cool channel, by the way. Peko Sank does not just the Wild Snakes channel, but also in amazing storm chasing videos. Really good stuff. Anywho, yeah. Here, give me a second. I need to figure out if iOS is going to be streaming tonight. Texting Lordy. He'll send me an answer. But, yeah. Very, very cool stuff. Anyway, so that's gliding flight. Powered flight is like you can actually take off under your own power and you're ascending rather than just descending. You know? There may have actually been multiple dinosaur lineages. Might not just be true birds that could fly. There could be other weirdo dinosaur groups, things like the Scansoriopterids. They may have been able to fly too. Actual powered takeoff from the ground kind of flight. But we're not totally sure yet. Yeah. Anyway, Ricky, my undergrad advisor, used to talk about that. He's like, yeah, crocodiles, if there ever were another like major mass extinction, he's like, I wouldn't be too shocked if we had flying crocs, you know? Because crocodilians, they do end up doing some crazy stuff when you give them a chance. You know, you had pug-nosed herbivorous crocodilomorphs during the Cretaceous period of Madagascar. Yeah, like Simasuchus. These guys were plant eaters. Yeah. They're pretty nifty. There we go.
This is Sinosuchus. It's not a dinosaur, but a miniature relative of crocodiles.
Yep.
One that lives almost entirely on land and is strictly vegetarian.
Yep. We got critters like that. We had marine crocodiles, or marine crocodilomorphs.
The infant, the adult.
Asazi, thank you for the 23 months of support.
Ontogeny.
I really appreciate that. Thank you, Asazi, keeping me here online. Past 24 months? Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, we used to have crocs in the oceans. They forsook their limbs, turned them into flippers and fins, and they were fully marine. We think they may have even given birth to live young in the water. Rather than coming up onto the land to lay eggs, they may have skipped the egg thing altogether and just given birth to live young in the sea. Yeah. The Latisuchians are pretty cool. Also, you get things like, what is the name for these guys now? Pristochampsis. But these were like, running crocodilomorphs during the Cenozoic, during the age of mammals. There's a famous illustration by Bacher of one catching an early horse. I wonder what the thoughts on them now. Potentially dubious extinct genus of crocodilian from France, possibly also Kazakhstan. Anyway, Boverisuchus is... maybe that's the one I'm looking for. Phylogeny. Description and habits. Heavily armored skin, and long limbs suggesting a cursorial, i.e. running, habit. Hoof-like toes suggesting that lived more on land than the water, and probably hunted terrestrial mammals. So this is a critter that's probably running after mammals and stuff on the land and eating them up. Pretty neat. So yeah, given half a chance, crocs do all kinds of cool, weird things. Yeah. Anywho, terrestrial crocodile in Australia too. Is that right? Curvus increditoris, neat. Yeah. And were its legs less splayed? I don't know, Murph. You kind of see that in this reconstruction. The legs do seem less splayed. You would think they'd evolve in that direction if they're going to be fast runners, but I don't know. Don't see anything about femur in here. But yeah. Anyway, if you want to read more about it, there's a good place to start. Get just some references from the reference section. But yeah. And King Kana. Oh, thank you, Dinosaur Dave. Okay. There we go. Quincana. Oh, very cool. Xiphidont teeth, recurved, serrated, and possessing flattened sides that gave him a blade-like shape. Let's see, so they may have had a pillar erect stance, so like upright limbs. Very cool. They might have been terrestrial. Yeah, it seems like there's still a lot we don't know about these critters, though, but take a look at that skull. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah. Good stuff. But yeah. And there you go, Evelyn Rose. Yeah, it is cool stuff how birds and crocs interact sometimes. Anyway. Yeah. Let's get back to this, talking about our birds. This is Confuciusornis here, but hang on a second. Sweetie Pie, what are you doing? Yeah. What's up with you? Oh, sweetie. You pushing the camera around? Yeah. Let's brush you a little bit more. Let's maintain that beautiful coat of yours, shall we? Yeah. Taking a cat brush break. Lovely. There we go. Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining us. How are you doing? You starved for attention still? Yeah. Oh. Nothing else interesting going on in the rest of the house? No? This is the most exciting place to... I know it's the most exciting place to be. Of course it is. We've got fossils all over the place. We've got 300 viewers. It's a good time. Yeah. And check out for a note from Lordy. Yeah, Claire, I got Lordy's text. Yeah. Oh, sweetie pie. Yeah. Oh, I'll see you later. Anywho. And Danny, any evidence cats ate dinosaurs back in the day? Serious question. I mean, you mean during the Cenozoic? Sure, there's some cats that eat birds. There's some birds that eat cats. But there were no cats during the age of the dinosaurs. The closest thing would be, oh shoot. I'm trying to think of like an early placental mammal. Yeah, I guess something like this would be your closest thing to a cat. It really looked more like a shrew, but placental mammals, the mammals that don't lay eggs and don't have a pouch, placental mammals are the majority of mammals today. That's everything that's not a monotreme or a marsupial is a placental mammal. So that's whales and bats and chimps and cats, dogs and rats are all placental mammals. This is basically what placental mammals looked like during the Mesozoic, during the age of dinosaurs. And they were not the dominant group. You could probably say that, like, the multis were a dominant... Well, yeah. Multituberculates. Jim says dinner. Yeah. So these guys would have been food for a lot of dinosaurs at the time. So yeah, it was like Zalamdolestes, which I don't think is actually a placental mammal. I think it's something else. But these guys would have been on the menu for a lot of different dinosaurs. There's one being pursued by some kind of Deinonychosaur. That might be Velociraptor pursuing it there. Lovely art by Yashua Knupe. This is Paleo Art, Paleo Stream, who does paleo art here on Twitch. Yeah. Cymix says, hey, that's Grandpa. Yeah. Watch out, Grandpa. Yeah. I like how the Commonwealth of Dominica put Zalamdolestes on a postage stamp. Even though Zalamdolestes is from Mongolia. But, you know, that's cool. I appreciate it. Anywho. Yeah. So that's what mammals looked like during the age of the dinosaurs, for the most part. There's a few mammals that got to the gargantuan size of like a big piece of bread, big loaf of bread. Maybe like a badger size for some of the largest Mesozoic mammals. Maybe even like the size of a small dog. Jack Russell Terrier, or maybe even a corgi or something. But yeah, your biggest mammal during the age of the dinosaurs would be, the most gargantuan mammals around are probably about this big. Probably not as cute, though. Yeah, and then some of them are far smaller. Things like Hadrocodium. About the same size as a paperclip. There's the skull of Hadrocodium right there. It's like barely bigger than a grain of rice. Yeah. And there are almost certainly many, many more super small species of mammal like this that we just haven't found yet because they're almost too small to get discovered, So yeah. Yeah. Yeah, what's that in Danny DeVito's? So, significantly smaller than one Danny DeVito, damn Wing, yeah. Yeah. Hadrocodium. Yeah. I think it was actually... Let's try that.
Help everyone explore new world.
Let's find Hadrocodium here. Man, were they small. They're not large. Yeah, here we go.
This amazing transition we see in development from jaw bones to ear bones, we also see in the fossil record. And we see it fossils from here in South Africa. And if we look at some of these primitive...
Anyway, go back a little.
To shrink.
There we go.
Eventually became redundant. But instead of being lost altogether,
there we go.
The fossil was first spotted in the field. My friend thought it's just a pebble. He picked it up.
This is Zexi Luo, who I met at SVP this year.
It's a fossil.
Yeah.
After more detailed work, we know that it's actually a mammal skull, and it's related to the origin of all mammals.
they named it Hadrocodium.
Yep.
Using a 3D printer, Lowe built an enlarged replica of its tiny skull.
You can embiggen it, so you could actually tell what's going on, because the original, again, is so small. It's like this big. It's like this big. So in order to actually study it in detail, you kind of have to embiggen it like this, you know?
The teeth had cusps like other mammals. But it's the lower jaw that really stood out. The jaw joint looked remarkably like that of modern mammals, which suggests that the old reptilian jaw bones were no longer being used to eat with. They had been...
Yeah, anywho, cool stuff. Hadrocodium is a small critter. I mean, not big at all. Yeah. Anywho. And Tone Rebellion says it's pretty interesting how multi-tuberculate mammals survived and thrived in most of the Mesozoic and after the KPG mass extinction, yeah. And then they went extinct in the Eocene, just as mammals came into their own, yeah. I was discussing that with several mammal paleontologists before SVP on the North Dakota pre-meeting field trip. I'm like, what is the deal with that? Where like the multis do really well throughout the Mesozoic? Multi-tuberculates, by the way, are these guys. For anybody wondering. Multituberculates. Yeah. The thing that distinguishes them is this big premolar tooth that they have. It's kind of blade-like. Yeah. So they're almost like rodents. They want to be rodents, but they're rodents before rodents are a thing. Rodents kind of... These guys hold down a lot of the rodent niches before rodents evolve. So, yeah. Does that make sense? Anyway. They're super, super common during... Well, not super common. No mammals are super common, it seems, during the Mesozoic. But they're around. They're some of the most numerous of the mammals during the Mesozoic era. They survived the extinction event at the end of the Cretaceous. They just charge on through. And they're doing fairly well in the Paleocene, and then the Eocene, and then after the Eocene, they survived one of the greatest mass extinctions in Earth history at the end of the Cretaceous. And then at the end of the Eocene, they're like, oh, that's it for me. Time to die. And then they just go extinct. And I don't know why. It's been suggested that maybe global temperatures drop a little bit at the end of the Paleocene-Eocene thermal maximum, and grasslands start to develop, and these guys don't like that, so they just go extinct. But that's also around the time that rodents are starting to take over. So did rodents outcompete the multituberculates? Did rodents kick these guys out? Did they outcompete them? Or does the rise of the rodents coincide with the extinction of these guys because rodents are stepping in after these guys have already died out or declined for other reasons? I don't know if anybody has a really good handle on that right now. Again, I'm not a mammal guy. I work on dinosaurs. So I'm not privy to the latest gossip about this kind of thing. I don't know what the kind of consensus is that's, kind of floating through the paleomammalogy ether at the moment. Not privy to that. But yeah. They're not rodents, but nodents. There you go now, sure. Rodents just copied their homework, says Hibiscus. Yeah. And Diagnosis Multi's laid eggs. That may have been a factor. I don't know if we know for certain that they laid eggs, because I asked that to some of the mammal workers I talked to, and they're like, yeah, we're not really sure if they're oviparous or not. So yeah. But then again, I was speaking to, I think I was pretty much the youngest person. I was one of the youngest people on that field trip. And so some of these kind of more advanced in age paleontologists, they might not be super in tune with a lot of the latest work, so maybe they're a little bit behind the times. I don't know. But yeah. Now, what does Fisher say? That's a good question, Claire. I don't know. And Toner Billion says multis were closer to therian mammals than to monotremes. Yeah, closer to marsupials. And placentals, I guess. But yeah. Monotremes are little weirdos, says Hibiscus. Yeah. They're cool animals. Like they were fun, and they were so successful for so long. There's a link if you want to read more about them. Good place to start. It's good old Wikipedia. They are the most diverse order of Mesozoic mammals with more than 200 species known. Ranging from mouse-sized to beaver-sized. That's gargantuan. Holy cow, for a Mesozoic mammal, enormous. Yeah. They're placed as crown mammals outside of either of the two main groups of living mammals, therians, including placentals and marsupials, and monotremes. But usually it's closer to therians than to monotremes. Yeah. So they are mammals, but they're not... But they're outside of crown group mammals? Shoot. They're more quote-unquote primitive than monotremes? I don't know. That's probably I'm framing the question in a way that's not the most helpful, I bet. But anyway, yeah. Catops Batar. Little multi guy. Yeah. Extinction of multituberculus has been a topic of controversy for several decades. After at least 88 million years of dominance over most mammalian assemblies, multituberculates reached the peak of their diversity in the early Paleocene before gradually declining across the final stages of the Epic and the Eocene, finally disappearing in the early Oligocene. Yeah, traditionally extinction has been linked to the rise of rodents, which may have outcompeted them. However, the idea that multis were replaced by rodents and other placentals has been criticized by several authors. Anyway, if you want to read more about this, then there's a link right there. Cool. But yeah, they're not more basal than monotremes, and monotremes are considered mammals. There you go, Toner Billion. Yeah. That's why I said I don't think I'm framing this question in a proper way. But yeah. Let's check on Blue Sky real quick and see how things are going there. Yeah. Well, thank you for the new follows, everybody. And holy cow, 21 likes on this. That's wonderful. Good stuff. Oh, and that's working? Thanks, Claire. Excellent. Good stuff. Let's get back to our birds video, shall we?
Because the helix of... To refine his theory, Shuxing continued.
And we don't get tree ferns like that growing naturally in California at Death Source. We get ground ferns, but not like Dicksonia antarctica or Cyathea cooperi, which I think this is a soft tree fern, so that's Cyathea cooperi. It's native to Australia, or it could be Dicksonia antarctica, native to Tasmania, but they don't occur in the wild with redwoods nowadays. Yeah.
The rear leg feathers are visible to the naked eye.
Yeah. And Zeno Bambino says, I've heard that sharks predated trees. Were there any dinosaurs that predated trees? No, dinosaurs evolved long after trees evolved. So there were no dinosaurs before trees. And sharks being older than trees works if you look at sharks in a particular way. It depends on what you mean by sharks. If it's like crown group sharks, then no, trees are older than them. But if we're talking about critters like, what was the Stethecanthus? Yeah. If we're talking about critters like this, was it Stethecanthus or is it? No, that's after trees. That's Carboniferous, right? Yeah, Carboniferous. There already were trees at that point. Plasmabranchii, evolutionary history. If you consider this a shark, it's from the... Well, no, that's from the... Yeah, I guess it would be before the first trees. Devonian, yeah. Yeah. So, like, proto-sharks showed up before the first trees, yeah. And Clitos, that's who I was trying to think of, Toner Billion, yeah. Clitosilaki, from the late Devonian. Yeah, if this is a shark, then yes, sharks are older than trees. I guess. But if we're talking about modern sharks, yeah, they first show up in what, like the Jurassic or something? Yeah, the earliest confirmed modern sharks, coelacanths, are known from the early Jurassic, about 200 million years ago. So dinosaurs are actually older than the oldest sharks. If we're talking about like crown group sharks, modern group of sharks. Mammals are actually older than the oldest ground group sharks. True mammals, I think. But yeah. Anyway, a lot of it gets into what do you call a shark? John Long has got an excellent book about this. This came out this year, The Secret History of Sharks, the Rise of the Ocean's Most Fearsome Predators. John Long is a fish paleontologist, and it's a good book. Very interesting. And it's like on a topic that doesn't get enough attention. So if you're really interested in sharks, especially fossil sharks, get yourself this book. Check it out. Get it from your local independent bookseller. Everybody wins. In that book, he uses shark just basically to mean like elasmobranch fish, also including the skates and rays and ratfishes, holocephalians. But yeah, here. Be chondrichthyes. Cartilaginous fishes. So basically, all fishes with cartilaginous skeletons. He kind of, he's kind of generous with the term shark to include, I think, most of chondrichthyes. Yeah. So if you're using that definition of shark, then yeah, these guys are older than the oldest dinosaurs. They're older than the oldest trees, too. But if we're talking about, like, sharky sharks, these guys, the earliest fossils we have from them are from, like, the earliest Jurassic period, so, like, 200 million years old, in which case they wouldn't be older than the oldest dinosaurs. So it depends what you mean. So, yeah. Anyway, I put tree in those irritating manual quotation marks too, because trees are not actually a phylogenetic group. What we call a tree can be a whole bunch of different plants that are not closely related to each other. So like a tree fern, like this, you might call that a tree, and it is not related to something like an oak tree or a maple tree. Nowhere close. This is a kind of fern. Likewise, a banana tree, isn't that related to grasses? Kind of like bamboo is? Hibiscus would know about this. Yeah. Anywho. Tree is like fish. Well, kind of now. It's even more wishy-washy than fish, though. Yeah. Yeah, tree is a niche. That's a good way to put it. It's a tall plant. You call it a tree. It generally has like a woody stem, although that's not always true either. Yeah. So, tree. A perennial plant with an elongated stem or trunk, usually supporting branches and leaves. They're not a monophyletic taxonomic group, so it's not like a real group of organisms. They're not actually related to each other necessarily. A wide variety of plant species that have independently evolved a trunk and branches as a way to tower above other plants to compete for sunlight. So yeah. Anywho. And bananas are a very thick herb. They're not trees, per se. There you go. Hibiscus, yeah. Yeah. And Rhacodactylus says, would it be accurate to say that the tree is more of a useful term for everyday pragmatic use than a scientific or technical term? Yes, Rhacodactylus, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, and Zeno Bambino says, thanks for the detailed response. Sorry it was so detailed. Sorry it took so long. But the more I learn, the more I realize some of these types of questions aren't always a simple yes or no. You bet. Yeah. Yeah, it's cool to think about, you know? there's so much out there to be learned, and when we're looking for those answers, they often turn out to be more complex than we would have imagined. I get excited about that kind of thing. I think that's really cool. 'Cause there's more to know, you know? Learning how reality actually is, I think, is far more interesting than learning like a prepackaged, you know, neatly tied up with a bow story that's really simple and easy to remember. The real thing, I think, is always more interesting than that. Oh yeah, yeah. But yeah. We argue large shrubs are trees, small trees are shrubs, etc. There you go, Hibiscus. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Woody versus herbaceous. Gotcha. Yeah. Cool. Cool. And Paddle Popinator says, from that documentary they touched on what is plant. If it does photosynthesis, if it doesn't do photosynthesis, it's not a plant. So deep ocean grass isn't characterized as a plant. That's part of it, yeah. Yeah, so plants. We'll jump out from sharks to plants here. Let's jump to land plants, maybe. On our tree of life. Maybe way over there. Land plants. We got other plants here. Anyway, a lot of the things that different seaweeds and stuff like that are not actually plants. So like, here's green plants here. Let's jump from there to kelp, which is a kind of protist. It's not a plant at all. They're over here. I think I found the right kelp, hopefully. Oh boy, maybe not. You'd think it would have a picture. Let's try leathery yellow-brown kelp. No picture of that. Anyway. Kelp. Large brown algae or seaweeds that make up the order Laminariales. About 30 different genera. Despite its appearance, kelp is not a plant, but a stramenophile, a group containing many protists. Very cool. So yeah. Kelp is not a plant. Pretty cool, right? Yeah. Only green algae are plants. Red, brown, euglenids, etc. are not. There you go, hibiscus. Yes. Yes. There you go, Ricodactylus. Yes. Now they know what they're doing, those protists. Anywho. Let's continue with this. I want to get this done today, talking about these birdie dinosaurs and dinosaur-y birds from China. And there we go. That's the end of that. There's a link. Yeah, that really ended on a downer, didn't it? Shoot. Well, here's what I'll say. Those unfortunate dinosaurs, hopefully they led good, happy lives before then. And today, by studying their remains, we as paleontologists can almost help bring them back to life, you know? Think about that. 160 million years after their death, we as paleontologists can examine their fossils and bring them back, at least in a kind of cultural, spiritual sense, you know? Today we know 160 million years after they died that these creatures lived. Not only that, we know that they existed, but they can tell us about the evolution of life on Earth, about the evolution of dinosaurs. It's because of Colinodromius that Now a lot of paleontologists suspect that all dinosaurs ancestrally were feathered. How cool is that, you know? You can learn from their story. Absolutely, Jesse Benitez, yeah. Yeah. That's pretty neat, I think. That's pretty darn neat. And it goes to show that this dinosaur, which is a little ornithischian dinosaur, probably not quite an ornithopod, but, you know, it's on the opposite side of the dinosaur family tree from birds, and yet it had feathers. It goes to show that feathers might just be a dinosaur thing in general. Not just the bird-like theropod dinosaurs, but all dinosaurs ancestrally may have had feathers, and that's super cool to think about. And I think that's a good note to end on for today. Don't go away just yet. We're going to see if we can raid into somebody else doing some science. But here is Deinonychus to throw our credits over. Stick around. We're going to raid into somebody. And then we'll have more discussion of the dinosaur bird link tomorrow as Thanksgiving swiftly approaches. Yeah. Who else is on Twitch right now at the moment? Thank you to everybody whose names are showing up here in our credits. I appreciate all of you. Thank you, thank you. Let's go say hello to Casey Snowart, who's doing a final Dinovember stream. Ooh, looks like a Spinosaur. Casey is an artist, and she's doing Dinovember, so drawing a new dinosaur every day in the month of November. Although this is the final one for some reason. Anyway, we're gonna go say hello and cheer her on as she draws. This is beautiful. I love that really cool looking Spinosaur she's working on. But yeah, everybody, thank you so much for your viewership, for your enthusiasm, for your questions. Thank you, moderators, for your work in keeping everything welcoming and safe for everybody. Thank you, people who contributed financially. Subscribers, gifters, resubscribers, cheerers. Thank you very, very much for making all this possible through your financial contributions. I could not do this full time if it weren't for all of you, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you, everybody. With that said, let's go tune into Casey Snowart